Welcome to the Hearts Hangout. We are the only podcast that knows drumsticks are not the same as choc tops. Grab your blasters and blue milk because we're about to deep dive into the game where Huts rule and three scoundrels rule. On this episode, we have Bones, Matthias, myself, and Womprat back from his blackout. And we also have a very special guest today, Tassenix.
Hey.
For the listeners who might not know who Tassenix is, make your way over to like the GAC leaderboard, scroll like a little bit, and you'll see him there quite regularly in the top 50.
Yep.
I think you're like top 15 now. Probably half of them are Rhodium players, I'd say still.
There's 3 in this bracket, but yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing.
That's still a
So
thing?
you'd be top 10 comfortably?
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. In real life, where it is right now, I'm like somewhere around 50. Here, let me check. I think I'm somewhere around 50.
Yeah, either way, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, actually 15 dead nuts. Yeah.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Right on the nose.
It's like, I joke that my big account is currently playing Hunt the Creator, but to hunt Tassenix, I would actually have to play seriously. And it's like, I like doing the stupid events. Like, we got drawn against another member of MC today, and I went, what do you want to do? And we went, no GLs, no GLs. And that's what we've done. And it's like, it's just hunt the content creator so we can do it at the same time. And it'll be like, I know Tassenix streams when I'm asleep, but it'll just be like, yeah, and I'll do a late one. I don't care. Let's do something stupid. But yeah, it's going to be one of those of a long way to climb to get up there yet.
So are you calling Tassenix stupid? Yeah. Sorry, Task, go ahead, buddy.
No. Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm very serious about the game. Many times have I matched up with other players or other content creators that said, hey, you want to do something different? You want to like not do GLs? You want to do some other special rules? I'm like, nah, do your worst. Fight me. I will pull the wife beater up over my head in the Walmart parking lot at 2 a.m., chug a can of Natty Light, crush it on my forehead. Let's go.
Dude, I love Natty Light. The guys in Scoundrels make fun of me.
No, don't say you love Natty Light. We do our time with Natty Light. We put in our time with Natty Light.
What is Natty Light?
To better things.
A beer?
Yeah.
Is it a beer?
It's
natural light
is college kid beer. You buy it you buy it in incredible quantities. It tastes like piss. But it gets you where you're trying to go if you're drinking 10 of them. Like in
is
20
it cheap?
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even when
Okay.
it's super cheap.
It's
even
your
when it's
equivalent to
refrigerated, it
Foster's.
tastes like warm piss.
Everyone wanted
It's
time.
your
college
equivalent
kid
to
beer.
Foster's.
It's cheap, it's bad, but it's getting you where you're trying to go.
Okay.
I'm still hearing a feedback. Is it you
I reckon
guys?
it's Matthias.
All
He
right,
keeps
hold on.
lighting up as as we're talking. But anyway, how are you, Bones?
Good. Doing stuff. Grand Arena started. Getting my ass kicked already. I've become a 3v3 guy as of last GAC. Because I actually win in GAC on 3v3. I used to hate it. I thought I hated it, but come to find out I love it. Other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Path of Exile 2 recently. I think I'm going to be streaming a lot of that, but that's about it. Family's good, I'm good, so I can't complain.
No snow?
No, the snow's melting.
Wasn't it? Wasn't there a second lot coming or something?
I thought like here in a few days they're supposed to be, but my wife's the weather reporter. I don't give two shits, but she always lets me know about it either way. And I have not been updated on any snow, so I would say no.
Okay.
Do you know, Matthias? Because you're close to me. Are we supposed to get more snow?
I do not believe that we have any cold fronts coming. I'm pretty sure that we're in the clear as far as that goes.
So yeah,
Enough.
I'm okay with it. It was cool to see snow for the first time in years. It was freezing ass cold for way too long. I am okay with being back to normal. So I've turned on the air conditioner the last 2 days, so I don't think it's coming. Anyways, that's the weather report.
All right. Matthias, how have you been?
I've been good. There's not much going on in the game right now, which is fine by me because trying to run 3 accounts at this moment is a freaking headache. I'm just ready to find out what the next big thing is in Swigo when the episode pass ends in 9 days now. Real life, as most of you know, I got a job offer for a travel job that pays ugu bucks more than I make right now. My plan is to try to use that offer to negotiate a decent raise at my current employer so I don't have to travel for work, but I can still make a lot more money. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, congratulations on that. In all seriousness, buddy, you deserve it.
Thanks.
I mainly think you deserve it so I can get more money from you, some more donations, and the wife won't yell at you as much. So it's actually a win-win-win. You get a raise.
He's not telling her though. The wife isn't going to know about the pay rise.
Yes, don't tell her that's for me. Your second wife.
Just like a completely.
Just tell her I'm changing careers for the exact same pay, but I get to see her less.
Yeah, that's a win, right?
We're all trying to catch up with Tassenix, so you got to help us all get up there. But that takes skill. Yep. I'll never get there. That's what I was going to say to Wampra earlier. He's like, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'd mess around. If I was serious, I'd go catch Tassenix." Yeah, I don't think it's that easy.
No, it is a challenge to get that high.
It depends on how bad you want it, man. Like I went to school as a little kid, having to wake up at 5 in the morning, get ready for school. Like in my brain every morning is playing the original Pokemon theme, because that's what I would turn on the TV while I'm getting ready in the morning.
That's awesome.
Original Pokemon. I want to be the very best. If you want it, you'll get there. If you're saying you'll never get there, 100%, you'll never get there. But if you want it, you would. Because I watch you play, Bones. It's you're just having fun. And if you wanted to learn all of the strategy aspects, you could and you would. Yep. It's just, what do you want?
Have you really seen his streams?
Fire in your belly? Do you have the hunger?
Yeah, he comes in.
I don't know
but
I mean, he's saying that you could learn. I don't think he's looking very closely if you think you're going to learn.
I'm actually teaching Tassenix on what not to do. That's what I'm trying to do. Any mistake he can make, I want to show him.
You see me.
You're just the testing.
Yeah, I was in there watching that too. He was facing Arnold.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Find lessons on what not to do a couple times there too. It happens to everybody. Everybody botches. That's not what it is. But yeah.
But I am amazed. I've seen it a couple of times where you're in-depth analysts. It's cool that you film it or whatever, stream it, because I'm just like, you're right, I could do that, but I would forget the information by the time we were finished going over it. But I'm amazed by your in-depth analysis of your opponent. Which
almost nobody does what I do with that. You can be damn sure, dude, that you could be a top player in this game without having to do the kind of legwork that I do, because I do it for the pleasure of it. Right. I like inspecting the butthole wrinkles of my opponent. I can identify that like a print on a paper. It's like when I'm studying your history, I see you. I know you.
So, do you mind, you don't have to get into details, but, what do you think what do you think for your success to stay at the top?
I mean, rigorous application of the credit card, and I want it. That's it.
Yeah.
There's anybody who's up here wants it. You can get here by any number of personal styles or techniques. I'm sure of it. My way is I enjoy the deep scout. I like the research on the opponent. I like trying to, because that means the best wins for me are the ones where I had something precise for everything you put, because even though you vary up your defense, I see your pattern, and it's like I'm covered for you any way it goes. And so I have a perfect attack for everything, and I was able to set anything else heavy on defense. And when it works exactly that way, the best. No substitute.
I'm kind of going back.
Have you ever had it though, where you've scouted and you'd be going, what the fuck is this person doing? I have no clue what the fuck they're gonna put.
Yes. If you look at those Omega Bot reports that I'll show at the start of the stream, it's the ones that have very like there's, let's say in for squads in 5 vs 5, there's 11 squads, right? If I see 11 tall bars, that means that you're setting only the same 11 teams and you're setting them consistently. If I see 7 or 8 tall bars and then those last few bars are broken up over a few different teams of varying heights on those bars, that means you're really mixing up 3 or 4 teams, switching things up. But most of the folks that I'm regularly fighting in this area, they know me and they know that I'm scouting them. So I will definitely have opponents that know that it's like, fine, he's seeing this trend. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to go 90 degrees this way. He can't know what I'm doing if I don't know what I'm doing. And that's a great way to catch me off guard and the other way to catch me is like if you're fighting me first week. Because if I'm trying to be a research-based player, I don't have any history on you, for what you're doing this season. The datacrons are different this time and the first week of a new season type of thing. So flying blind the first week's always more challenging for me. But if people who are willing to break from their pattern really throw me for a loop because I'm relying on you to be true to yourself. So if you're going to juke me, you're going to juke us both.
I have to say this. This is random and going back a step. But I want to make like a montage video of like a Rocky video of you going up the steps, but to the Pokemon theme. Like Eye of the Tiger. I had to say that or I'd hate myself.
You'll see me like winded like 15 steps up, but I do it. I get that ultra tight close up of me at the top of the staircase, just face pouring sweat through this hat. I'd have to be wearing this hat.
Well, I was gonna say wear the hat. We'll edit you where you're panting at the top and like you're puking and everything else by the time you get to the top. So we haven't even got to your real introduction, but one more question I thought was a pretty good question is JJ Binks. Thank you for the first time chat, buddy. Yeah. Welcome in. He asked you what would be your best advice to give players to improve their play?
Embrace mods. Embrace mods wholeheartly. There are still people that have been playing the game for years that say I hate mods. It's like I don't get it. Like, do you not decorate your house? Do you not make your house like you? Do you not customize it to suit your taste? Do you just live in the same stock house as everybody? Do you like you have no tchotchkes in your car? You just drive the same Corolla as everybody else? And
are you a Kardashian with everything? There's nothing in there. It's just.
It's just the idea is it's one of the only ways you can actually customize your characters. You can pursue your own strategy with how you want to play teams. Like you can set them up to do certain things. Plenty of high-end players. Like one of my favorite players is Fatal because he's so inventive. And when I'm saying inventive, he's not just stringing together novel team compositions. He's theory crafting, it's like, I wonder if I modded this character in a really unintuitive way, but if I'm thinking about how I want the fight to go, it's going to do something. And it does. So I'm not saying you have to get in that depth, but there are a lot of people who avoid doing their farms, avoid developing mods just because they have the distaste for it being another casino mechanic. And it is a casino mechanic, but you're already playing the bullshit gotcha Star Wars phone game. Like, you have to accept that you are in a casino, and this is just costing you energy and crystals, presumably from your daily income. So not actual money. But as far as like practical advice on modding, never less than your 350 crystal refreshes a day. Ideally, if you're like in Kyber 1 and you have, your squad arena income from GAC, you have your fleet arena income. I'm having enough where I can do 3 Cantina battle refreshes, 6 mod refreshes, and like 3 refreshes on Conquest. You can move some of those 100 crystal refreshes from mods to Conquest if you want to make sure you get a robust inventory of datacrons, if you're in a part of the game that engages with that. But always your 350 crystal refreshes on mods, and ideally up to 6. You, as far as, people always ask, how much time do you spend farming mods versus materials? Find something that works for you. Like my personal pattern is I'm farming the mods that I know that I need till my inventory's full. Then I'm farming until I have between 200 and 300 of every slicing material so that I have enough to work through that stuff I've got. It's maybe I should have more like 300 to 400 to work through like a full inventory or something like that. But the idea is you're just kind of bouncing back between those, and you can completely transform your roster in a little less than a year. Like if you had a like a 10 plus million account, but just really terrible mods, and you think that it's a completely lost cause, obviously if you threw money at it and more crystals for even more refreshes, you could get there even faster. But really, just doing those 6 refreshes through the 100 crystal refreshes will make an enormous difference. Like you'll more than double all of your counts, because I've seen it with other players that came into guilds that I've been in with, strong characters, high relics, poor mod quality, and they just turn that around in a year. So can be done.
I agree.
If you've got,
oh sorry, Mike, go ahead, buddy.
If you've got like a newer player, is there, when they're farming for the actual mods to fill up their inventory, is there a suggested way to do it? Like, do you focus on one character or team, or do you do like a broad general farm and just sort of see how you go? Do you have any thoughts on that side of things?
I'm sorry, could you ask one more time? I kind of blanked out there.
So, like when they're trying to fill up the mods.
No, sorry. I
It's
saw
the
a question
accent.
in the chat and I got distracted, like a moth in front of a light.
So a newer player's starting out, or let's say they've got like a 2-3 million account and they've started to really want to work on their mods. Should they be focusing on getting like their CLS team really well modded, or just doing a general, on Mondays they farm health sets, Tuesdays defense, whatever, to try and build up their roster? Do you have any thoughts on that side of thing?
You could go about it either way. Knowing that in general, it's tough to go wrong if you farm something like speed sets or offense sets. For pretty much anything that isn't a tank, you could make a reasonable case for why it could be in a speed set or in an offense set. So generically speaking, going wide like that and farming, that's valid. You can farm health mods sometimes, but I usually don't, because all the events that you do, health is pretty frequently handed out.
True.
So I don't worry about that so much. But really, the first way you mentioned is how I do it. I like to have goals in terms of specific characters. So, and in terms of which characters am I going to put that effort on? The ones that I'm using, the ones I care about. Like, I'm doing Grand Arena, or if I had goals where it's like, man, I'm like one team short for Raid, and I want to make sure I get my max box. Okay, fine. Then I'm thinking about what mods I need for that purpose. But in general, I'm GAC focused, and I'm thinking about certain teams. Like, it's like, man, I want to be able to set up my Darth Malik to be 1 speed faster than my Darth Revan, but I don't want to make my Darth Revan any slower. So what am I going to do? It's all right. Well, I'm hitting this for now. It's and I will hit speed or something like that with that type of focus.
Yeah.
When I have no character specific goals, then I'm going back to the generics. I'm hitting speed. I'm hitting offense. If it's been a while and I feel like I've gotten a pinch on it recently, I'll hit defense, tenacity, potency, like that.
Okay.
So one more thing on top of mods. It's one word, datacrons. Just even if you have 4, you have to set 3 teams. Just go farm to level 6, 3 datacrons, and you're gonna do better. I hate datacrons. I despise them, but it will skyrocket.
I didn't like them when they first came out, but they've won me over because they solved a design problem for this game. We should all be grateful to datacrons, because this game would be dead by now. It would have been dead. The people don't remember. If you were at the top of the game, most people don't have all the toys, all right? But people at the top of the game been having the toys, been playing the same fights for months and months and months, and we eagerly await a new team to be added, only for it to become the newest flavor in this stale pie, right? So you have variety introduced to the game by every datacron meta. So it's solving two design problems with the game at that time. You're introducing change into the meta so that it's not so stale, and you're also creating an equalizer for people who haven't been hitting mods for the last 6, 7, 8 years on this game. There's no means for you to compete with an account like mine prior to datacrons if you didn't hit mods in a similar way. You just didn't have the oomph. You had nothing to come at me with. I just had more numbers. Now, you do have to put effort or money into having a robust inventory of datacrons, but many are the skilled opponents that I fight that have way less mods than I do, but they compensate with datacrons, and here they are. They're fighting me. They're competitive. They're in the same water I'm swimming in, so the proof is in the pudding. Yep. It's doing what it's for. And yeah, did it just trivialize? Did it just annihilate a whole style of play that existed before datacrons? It did, but again, you would have been enjoying that for the next months, year, maybe 2 years, but the game would have died because whales were already quitting in significant number. Because why keep playing the actual same match every week? Just why would you?
Yeah.
So do you think there's any improvements that can be done to datacrons?
Well, they've really improved datacrons. It depends on what you see as the problem with datacrons as being. Like, the first couple sets of datacrons were ridiculously overpowered, sets 1 and 2. And then I want to say set 4 is the one that had the high dodge. Super high dodge. They've never brought dodge back. And in those first couple sets, they learned they can't make super overpowered level 9 abilities on datacrons for Galactic Legends, because if you recall that at the time, the counters for Galactic Legend Rey in like set 1, there was like 2. It went from something like 4 or 5 possible counters to 2. And I agree. That's bad. That's bad for the game. I don't like that. Like, I like that when you have a datacron, you know, the way it shifts the meta is things that were reliable or less reliable. Now you can find something else that's reliable only during the life of this datacron meta and make use of it. And that's, you know, it's the push-pull I'm looking for to keep the game feeling evergreen. But they've learned from their mistakes earlier on with datacrons, and they haven't made them as overpowered. So I guess I'll bounce it back to you. What do you see as the modern problem with datacron?
That's a Bones question.
Yep. I'm probably the biggest hater.
I actually,
go ahead, Matthias.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about how they fix datacrons to make it something that more of the community can engage with. And what I came up with was very simply, you add 3 more levels at the start, at the beginning. You keep it so in order to have, so level 9 would become level 12, right? And in order to have level 12, your character would need to be Relic 5. You would have to have your whole team at least Relic 3 to upgrade it to that point. But at level 1, 2, and 3, or at level 1 and 2, it only requires the character to be at 5 stars, gear 11. And then at level 3, it requires 7 stars, gear 12. And then
Your critique is that earlier in the game, you don't have access.
Yeah.
Yes. So that way the players that are at the lowest tiers of the game can still have a reason to engage with datacrons and utilize newer characters or teams they haven't fully built up yet.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Something I was saying to a couple of people that have asked me about how would you start off, and something that I thought about was if you started off as early as you could, even just base farming datacrons, even if you got 1 or 2, that 1 or 2 grows the next time and the time after and the time after. Even if you can't use them right away because most of your team's not relic, by the time you get round to having relic teams, you're likely to have 3, maybe 4 relic datacrons ready to go. Then you came round to, oh, now I need more relic teams because I've gone up. And datacrons have already outgrown you. And it's like, if you do it early and consistently, by the time you're starting to breach into Kyber, you're walking in there going, I've got more datacrons than I need. So I've then got the ability to start the choice process, to start doing it. So I wouldn't say it needs something earlier. I think people just need to adopt them as early as they can and go, yes, they're a problem, and yes, I'm not going to get use out of them until I get those full relic squads. But if you start early enough, you can get those relic squads and go, I've already got a cron for you, I've already got a cron for you.
But
it might not be the level 9s, but you can abuse the level 6s.
I like the idea there, but the problem, of course, is that you can't really grow your account around datacrons in a long-term way because they expire every few months.
Exactly. And that's the main part there is you've got to accept that you're probably only going to have the level 3s and level 6s. I wouldn't be going, oh yeah, grow to the level 9s. I'll be going, just go wide, get loads of level 3s, loads of level 6s. It may be that you're just reliant on his dark side for a good while.
Yeah.
But it means you've got access.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like something that you were saying a minute ago, Mateus. I liked. So the idea of opening up the game so that lower level accounts can get their feet wet with datacrons, I think is good. I think that lowering the threshold for when you can use them is a good design solution for that. But I think we can just do that. If we also increase it to 12, you can, and I swear by this. If I'm usually spending some money on crystals, but completely free to play. I've done it for years now. You can get a full inventory. If you're the player you're capable of getting Red Box and Conquest, you can completely for free get a full inventory of level 9 datacrons. And I'm not saying they will be all optimized or anything like that, but it is absolutely achievable to have a full inventory for each set of datacrons, of level 9 datacrons, completely free to play if you're going to move those 3 100 crystal refreshes from mods over to Conquest while Conquest is active. So, and I mention this because, you're saying taking up the level cap on datacrons to 12, it's fairly, I could just barely do what I just said I can do free to play. You take them up to 12, now we're introducing a new pinch point for people who, like me, I don't mind spending money on the game. I just want to spend money on the things that I get to keep in the game. I don't really spend money on datacrons. So I'm going to have to, though, if we're going up to level 12 and I'm trying to stay up in the top like that, because that means that those next 2 levels before you hit whatever a level 12 ability would be, and God knows what that would look like. But those next 2 levels are going to be stat blocks, man. You can't.
So my idea for the level 12 was just that the level 9 ability becomes level 12. It's just level 3 moves to level 6, and then the first 5 levels are all that low tier stat buff.
I got you. Yeah.
You wouldn't need to change. You would need more materials, but you wouldn't need to add a new type of material or anything like that. And the reason why I think that it would be necessary to raise the cap up to level 12 is because we've said this before on the podcast. Plenty of other content creators have said this. At the end of the day, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, from CG's viewpoint, is a business. They need to make money off of it, which means if they're going to make a major overhaul or change like this, they need one of 2 things. Either people quitting in droves, which is what caused them to lower the relic requirements initially, or a monetary incentive.
But another thing is you could just do gold for a few. You wouldn't even have to change anything. If you just made the first 3 or something just gold.
Credits.
Yeah. Because it would be hard for...
Yeah.
Or I don't know. But make it where it's minuscule for a player that's been doing it for a long time now, since day one, like Tass and all of us. Just make it where it's very, very minuscule.
Hold up. You're day 181, mate.
Yes.
Don't forget it.
When you're a day 181 player like I am, Anyways,
You're way more
But
OG
anyway,
than I am,
let's
dude.
let's get into the introduction of TAS. We are 38 minutes in, and we haven't done that part. We just started talking, and we've kind of
Professional stream.
got off track. But
that was a great combo, though. I appreciate that combo, for sure.
I have like 7 other questions to keep going, but I'm like, God, we'll be like 3 hours, and then we're like, oh shit, we got to do a podcast, guys. Okay, so basic introductions. Tassenix, what GP are you? What guild are you in? And well, we probably already can guess your favorite game mode, but maybe you'll surprise us.
Yeah. So yes, I am Tassenix, and I am 15.32 million on my account. It is one of the big boys. I didn't used to be a few years ago, but then I was. I am in MOAR, the premier, the preeminent guild in the game. Such a privilege to be there. Love it. Number 1 TW guild, number 1 TB guild, just an amazing group of dedicated, hardcore players. Really like it there. And yes, number 1 mode for me is Grand Arena. It's the reason I play the game. Like collecting the characters and doing fleet battles. Because I picked up the game, I'm not a day 1 player. Some people have that impression. I started December of 2018. My daughter was born October of 2018, and I was stuck on the couch after having just bottle fed her, and she was passed out in one arm, and I'm like, well, shit. I'm just going to be here for a while now. So I pulled out my phone and found a game.
Can I stop you for 1 second? Exactly the same way I got into the game. My daughter was born. She was in hospital for like 2 or 3 days. Literally sat at the hospital and was like, what can I find on my phone? Yep. Continue on, because that's like, when you said that, I'm like, God, it must just be like a man thing to just like, what the fuck do I do?
Mine was an excuse to get away from my kid. I gotta go do dailies, kid. Go eat your pine cones. Leave me alone. I got things I gotta do. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tess.
No worries, man. Yeah, no, I picked it up in December 2018 and kind of just haven't looked back. So been enjoying it this whole time. But yeah, the rest of the game is in service to Grand Arena for me. That's what keeps me playing, for sure.
Ray Rock in chat saying, is MOAR also number 1 for the raid?
Yeah, they are. I'm thinking in terms of what usually people are competitive about. And I guess our guild, our leadership would be proud of our raid score. I'm usually thinking GAC, TB, TW, the things that, guilds usually compete for in their adverts. So yeah, no, completely fair. Raid is great too. Yes. It's amazing because we have some, again, just fantastic players there. And it's like a new raid will come out. And it won't be 12 hours before they've got an optimized set of teams figured out. Got folks that'll sit in Discord with you and look at your roster of whatever bum shit you have and help you cobble together 5 or so, teams to throw at it and get a max score. Just an amazing guild. Shout out to Malchromium.
That's cool. That's really cool. What made you decide that you're going to be one of the best players in the entire game?
So I'm just doing what I like doing. I've been a high rank player in several games that I've played over my life. Like this is just, if I'm playing a game, I'm serious about it. So I'm not surprised that I'm in the higher end of the pool. I also think, if I'm going to be really honest with myself, like I've played the game long enough at a high enough level where I've seen how many great players have left. We've had new players come in. It's good. It's good to see that we're new faces come up and play in the high ranks and have, add some variety to the matchups. Because you'll have weeks, like if you're regularly playing in the top 50, you'll have months where you're fighting the same guy 2 or 3 times. Stuff like that. Yeah. That datacrons or no, that can start to get stale. So I really appreciate the new players, but like I'm saying it's easier to stay at the top when you've got stuff like Erodiums that you're fighting a third of the time, and some of the very finest other players have since retired, there's still excellent players out there in these waters. But
That's so crazy to me.
yeah, man,
that
it's
those
easier
accounts
than it
out there.
used to be, I guess. I could say that.
That's probably why I can stay in Kyber too. It's because everyone quits. So I'm fascinated by the content creator side. What got you into like wanting to stream your stuff and just make content
That's
in general?
a fantastic question, and I love talking about this. The answer is one word: Zareth. I was new to the game. I didn't know much about mechanics, and I started turning on just Swugga content creators on Twitch, and came upon Zareth, and I immediately felt kinship. I was like, this is my people, because this was back in, I don't know, his old house or wherever, but in these days, he was sitting at what looked like my grandmother's kitchen table, like under the yellow lamp over the wooden kitchen table. Big forehead, all greasy, poor mic quality. All the lighting behind him in the kitchen is dim, so it looks like he's actually sitting in a kitchen that's in a basement. I'm like, this is my people. I'm gonna listen to this guy.
Yeah.
And the more I listened to him, I mean, I loved his content, but I was like, man, like this is a guy that's like, because I saw Arnold too, and Arnold's obviously the biggest content creator in the game, and part of that is he's an entertainer, and he's got all the glitz and glam and sound effects and music and graphics and all of it, and that shit ain't me. I am bare bones Jones in it. I'm putting the time in on the scout, on the game. We don't do no bells and whistles here, no accoutrement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I saw that he was that same way, I was like, oh wow, I could make content for this game. Because like, if he's dropping just knowledge out here, he's just giving you the straight dope. There's no fancy stuff in between. There's nothing that's going to give me a headache. There's nothing that's going to give me an epileptic seizure. So I can watch this. And I was like, yeah, that was my inspiration. That was my inspiration, man. So I decided I can do this. And then, yeah, it's, amazing is the way that the journey's gone. Because a few years ago, Senpai noticed me, and Zareth invited me to the Gambit Alliance. I'm part of the Gambit group. When they do have the Gambit podcast, the Roundtable, I try to make it every time. But yeah, man, it's amazing when you play a game long enough, you get inspired by somebody, your mentors become your peers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was also with Fatal and Dagger, like on my podcast. These guys that I brought on were part of my journey coming up in the game. Like, I learned how turn meter works from Dagger. I learned about a whole lot about trick moddings from Fatal. It's sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Fatal is one of these accounts I look at every time that I'm modding something differently. And it's like, how have you already played with it? And then you go and look at, like, on Hot Utils, he's got the Fatals meta, and that is very different to his account. Like, you can run Fatals meta, you go through it, and it's like, that's not the same. And you start going through and going, yeah, let's actually look at his account, and it's like, seeing some of the stuff that he mods up is really, really nice. And, like, I haven't actually been doing it with like a lot of creators, but I already know that I should be checking yours because I get told by people, have a look at this when it's certain people, and it's like, okay. So I've already got your ally code saved, and it's like, okay, I know that you're not bad at modding, and it's just like, honestly, guys, the biggest part of this game, there's the people that drop knowledge, and there's the people that are amazing accounts. And Tassenix's account is one of those you go into, you start looking through and going, ooh, 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 and you get distracted because you went in to go and look at like Jawa modding, and you end up buried in something else because you got distracted by the shiny. So, yeah.
Mike, who do you go to for your modding?
Yes, I also use Tassenix. When you're on the Scoundrels podcast, God, it would have been a year ago now, I think.
Oh God, it can't be that. It must be like 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. It was quite funny because like what Womp said with Fatal, whenever like Side Rey comes out, I've got a question later on about it, but I would be going to your account and going, okay, so we're using health and offense or whatever. It'll be like, all right, that's what I'll set it for until we figure something else out. But generally speaking, any of the new characters that come out, like that I care about, I'll go and have a sneaky look and see what's going on. Whether it's whether it changes or not down the track.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Bane, we're not doing Pete Mo around here. It's Tassenix or Swugga.gg or nothing. Okay?
I'll be honest, I'm probably going to be checking Fatal very, very quickly after it comes out, because you can guarantee it'll be, I want it for the first lock-in, and he's probably already got a mod set saved.
Womprat.
No, you're supposed to say Tassenix. He's the guest.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to kiss the guest's ass. You don't say Fatal. You say Tassenix.
For you. I mean, we can talk about it here if that was something you guys are already planning on, but I got great news. I actually... if you follow my channel regularly, I started doing little extra videos with the plotting and scheming crew, reviewing character kits, and we have a video coming out on Monday, hours ahead of the actual release here of Darkside Vision Rey. So we talk about her. We talk about our initial thoughts on modding her. That's all in there. But again, we could cover it here.
Good.
We still haven't got to introducing you yet. We're still going through that.
God, yeah.
Like I told you in the pre-show, I'm riding your wave. So no skin.
All right, let's get to the 3x3
because I'm the content creator. I like the content creating part, so I want to ask him a few more things. I can relate to what you do, but I'm the opposite. I'm entertainment purposes only. I have zero substance for you to learn anything from me except what not to do. But it was kind of the same thing with me where, like, I was playing Dragon Champions. I don't know if you remember that. But people were kind of getting tired of Swugga. A lot of content creators went and played that. I ended up, like, in DB Officials Guild. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I could, like, because it was a new game, I was like, I think I can stream this and make informational videos. I did. And then, like, DB Official and, like, I started getting connections with other people. I quit Dragon Champions. I started doing Swugga just streams for the fun of it, not teaching anyone anyway. And then, you know the Escape podcast, right, Tass? Nev and Paul?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so they put me on at the end as their AI person, and then it just started skyrocketing. It's amazing, just the content creating community. People who make content creating, whether you have 1 subscriber or you have 200K, my mind was blown once I started to get to know everyone who made content creating. Have you been surprised, no matter how small or big, how many people make content for this game?
No. That's interesting. I don't really think about it that way. I'm not surprised how many or how few there are. What I'm always hopeful for is that the game continues to grow. Like, I don't mind these guys making money hand over fist doing it, because every part of this is optional. We all know that. So, if they can figure out a way to keep the game design, like, evergreen and keep it on going, I just hope that we keep having more players join and there are more and more content creators. It's good for all of us, you know?
I agree.
And I want to just echo something you said. I really do enjoy being a content creator. Yeah, because I got into it for the same reasons that I feel like Xerath got into it. I wanted to share what I knew. And then when I started making my podcast and stuff, I wanted to make something that I wasn't really seeing. Because there's a lot of, there are plenty of podcasts for it. And there are podcasts that talk about GAC. And there wasn't something scratching the itch for me for the detail, right? It's you make the content, you get started out of passion, right? You make the content that you want to see. And so, a few years into it, 4 or 5 years into it, no expectation that I would have patrons and subs and stuff like this. The last couple of years of support and saving donations and all this stuff, I had about a third more budget to spend on my new gaming PC because of the support of my community, which is just going back into making more stuff for this game. So,
Yeah.
a virtuous circle. I really enjoy it, man.
And this isn't in an egotistical way, but like me personally, I have zero skills. I can't go work construction or do electricity or anything. Like I can flip burgers and do like retail. So for me personally, to never intentionally have a podcast, to never talk to a top 50 content creator or GAC player or Urs or Zareth, where I'm doing that now, it makes me feel very... I'm just doing it for fun still. I don't do it for money, but to be able to build something from scratch and actually have something to show for it, to be able to have these conversations with you and other content creators, people who I look up to, you know what I'm saying, for many, many years. Because not just Swugga, but Star Wars is a big part of my life in everyday fashion. And then now Swugga has become that. So to be able to talk to my, you could say idols or people I look up to, is just really cool. And I don't really have anything to like ask you about that. Now I'm just making it about myself. But it is cool to see something grow. You know what I'm saying? And people appreciate it. If I have one person say, hey, I look forward to your podcast every week, it really makes my day driving home or something. I've done my job, you know. Do you get that same kind of feeling whenever... I'm sure you get those comments. Do you ever...
It's all for the love of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like... folks that are like supporters of mine and patrons and stuff, I give them priority. But there's, you know, just because I'm in the top 50 and I've been really high ranked, I've never been inaccessible to somebody. I've never told them like, I'm not answering your question if you don't tip my jar over there, like, because that's how I got good. Is you best believe that when I didn't know what I was doing, I was setting up a tent in the front yard of Fatal's house, and you know, on Dagger's roof. Like he's getting in the car to go to work in the morning, and I'm like in the back, in the back seat. Hey, got a quick question for you. You know?
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm humble as well. I always try to help out
There's so
the
many
next
folks
little
that were
guy.
there that just spent a lot of time answering my questions when I was coming up, and I always do the same. Like, you know, it's the reason to make the content is the love of the game. And everything else that comes after that is gravy. You know?
I've always wanted to make sure to pay
if every sub of mine canceled immediately, I'd be sad to see it go. But like, I wasn't doing this for the money to begin with, right? Like, you know, I'll still keep talking with people about the game, and I'll be fine, type of thing.
All right, Mike, we can move on. I can see us like...
No,
Twitch.
I see Bones is like the opposite to me, right? So I come into like your stream or like Xeris or Calvin, someone like that who they know the game really well, right? And I'm very like casual, I guess. I like to play, but I'm nowhere near the level like you guys are. And I feel not intimidated or anything, but like I feel very much out of my depth to be in those sort of like environments, and I'll like Bones being very entertaining. I enjoy being in those sort of streams.
Entertainment, yeah.
yeah. But then going into like and I just sit there and I just watch, and I'm like, okay, you know, like silently just taking notes or whatever. But it's like it's two different types of entertainment, right? Like Bones is pure entertainment, whereas you guys are like that knowledge base of like a documentary versus like a cartoon. Both of them have their, you know, virtues, and
I will say Tass is more in the middle than a lot. Some people are one extreme to the other, but I will kiss your ass some more while you're on the show. You're more in the middle. Look at the hat. Look at the hat. How is that not entertaining?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But I mean, like, his knowledge is so far, like, above mine that I'm just like... It's like, he forgets more than I know about this game. That's, like, I go into those streams and I'm just like, yeah, right, like...
If you're ever watching, you got a question, drop a question. I mean, I answer them all the time. I really enjoy... I so appreciate the amount of time people spent with me coming up because I was not an easy student for some things too. You can ask Dagger. It's like because this is at the time where I'm learning how turn meter works by learning how to clock the Imperial Troopers team under Veers, right? And I'm like, wait, how does that work again? I'm sorry, I got to recalculate again. Wait, in what order do you do that? Like, so, understanding that there's such a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a high barrier to overcome for knowledge in this game. Like it's a lot of things are intuitive, a lot of things are not. And yeah, ask questions, man. There's it's my pleasure, So yeah.
And if it wasn't for me, there wouldn't be people like Womp Rat here today.
Yeah. Like,
I'm just messing with you.
Unfortunately, he's actually quite right there. Like, although, like, I watched yourself for quite a while, and I don't think I've ever put a message in your chat, because every time I'm about to ask a question, some fucker asks the same thing, and it's like, yay, I didn't need to. So it's just like, yep. Let's keep
what you're looking for. That's fine.
Yeah. But it's like, I make the joke that I am probably the most prolific lurker out of anybody, even before I started making content. And, like, the only reason I started was, yeah, you've got all these guys at the top end, but you haven't got anybody that's trying to show that fight to get there. You've got the guys that are all in Kyber, and it's like, my baby account broke into Kyber at 6 mil. And it was just like, I'm just a tenacious little bugger that will not drop a bone. I will keep going. And it was like, there was a question, I think it was like last year, and they asked you about, how early can you get into Kyber or something like that? And you said, basically, it's as long as you put the effort in, you'll get there when you get there. There's no real lower limit. And there are people that are in Kyber below what I did. And it was like, I'm sorry, but getting into Kyber at 6 mil is impressive. Getting into Kyber below that means you are a scary player.
Yeah, I'm playing against and sometimes losing against accounts that are like 11 something million. Now it's a really high number for sure. Context, I'm 15.3 million. I should be like the big kid on the playground just sitting on them. And they can still get it done. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play with Mike's 13 million account. Now, obviously, I'm not as knowledgeable as most, but like I'm getting beat by 11 and 12s all the time. Even though I have pretty much everything to my disposal, I need to watch more streams. I'm guilty of not watching enough to learn stuff from like you or Zareth or Arnold or whoever. But yeah, it's amazing how people can punch up. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's get this 3v3 done.
Okay. So, basically, I sort of sent you a message to sort of explain it a little bit, but basically, whenever we get a guest on for the first time, because you are welcome back at any time, just so you know. But first time around, we basically get people to send through 9 characters or ships that basically have some meaning, whether it be in-game or like from the movies or books or whatever, that have some sort of meaning for you. And then basically you have to vouch for those characters, and we either roast you or agree with you. And Matthias has his hand. Yes, Matthias?
I want to point out that on these 3v3s, nobody has ever put a ship. You always say...
No, we have had one.
Yeah,
we have had one.
We have had a couple of ships.
Huh?
Kate? I'm pretty sure it was
We've
Kate.
had several ships.
Yeah.
I've seen all of these. I've not seen a single fucking ship.
If you weren't a special guest, you would know that.
But you don't even know what you ate for breakfast yesterday.
All right.
Breakfast.
So Tassenix is 9 characters, or 8 characters in the ship. General Skywalker, BT-1, Taron Malicos, Dark Trooper, Boss Nass, Darth Vader, Executor, Darth Malik, and Jabba the Hutt. So let's start off at the top corner with Gash.
Yeah. So, I mean, I might just jaw jack here for a few seconds so that people don't miss it because the ad's running right now. But yeah, Gas is my most frequently remodded character. He's my favorite passion project. You know, over the years, tweaking him so that he has reasonably good speed. Armor is the next priority up over that. The next one over that is prot, and then over that is offense. And then having zeroed out health means that if you're taking CLS against my team, you're getting absolutely bare ass minimum value for expose. So he's one of my favorites. I'm always, whenever I'm looking at mods that would fit him, if it's an offense set, if it's a defense 2-piece that ends up having strong offense rolls and speed on it, I'm always thinking about Gas. So he's just one of my favorite characters to work with. Probably the single most reworked character for me.
Do you guys remember whenever? So he was the last legendary before GL. Do you guys remember whenever you first saw him get down on his knees and like just the mind blowing? Like he looked like a raid character, right? It was just crazy to me, and I was like, "There's no way we're gonna be able to beat this guy," and everything else. Obviously, it wasn't that big of a deal, but he was one of the craziest characters, legendary characters. I remember when he came out that time.
Well, he's still the four Zetas, which is still like we've got some 3 Zeta characters, obviously like the Conquest ones, but the next step up is then like a GL. Like he sits in that middle range basically between like Darth Bane and then a GL, really. So
yeah, and you didn't need relics, but you kind of do need relics to unlock him. I'm sure there's some person out there that did it without him, but a lot of us had to relic a couple of characters to get through the event. That was the first time we had to do that. Yeah, that was just all I got to say. I just remember him being released and be like, "Oh my god, he's like a raid boss," but it wasn't that big of a deal.
I remember him coming to the game, and it'd be, okay, so we've got to hit him because he's taunting. And you were sat there and you had read the kit, and then he kneels down and you go, oh fuck, I forgot about that. And then all of a sudden he stood back up and you thought, yeah, I've used my CLS, and it's been, oh fuck, he's just wiped me out. And it's that moment of, he can go so many different ways, and it's like, yeah, you've got the 2-man counter for it, and I can probably guess that Tassenix has got a little bit of potency sneakily hidden on him, specifically so you've got to go to over 200% with both of them, and congrats, you're not going to do that. So congrats, you've just stopped the 2-man by making sure that they've got to put those ridiculous tenacity sets there. So it's
I'm
like,
usually compensating with a datacron to get that potency, just for the record, because if you're up over 200% like that, like I don't want to put that type of stat budget into potency personally. Some people do, or they achieve it with a 2-piece of potency, but I really like 2-piece of defense.
Yeah. I've got 2 pieces of potency and a potency cross on him. So it's like I've got very surprisingly high potency. And it just means when it comes to datacrons, you can go, I don't need to use that, I can take the armor pen and watch you cry a little bit inside when he starts murdering you.
Completely fair.
I'm just sitting here like I haven't remodded my gas in 2 years. All right, I'll have to go look at it.
Still working on mine.
What's the 2-man counter for gas?
Gara ISD.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But you need like over 100% of their potency. So you have to check Gassed, and who's the other one that gives it out? Because there's one other that can screw you over if he's got high potency.
Well, the whole fight's about gas. Like if there anything else that happens, you could live through because of the way that you'll counterattack. But if gas puts days on you, the jig's up.
Yeah,
that's it.
So
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so you need ridiculous tenacity on both of them, and it's like, yeah, the big account has got them over 180%, but that means I can only take gas that are at 80% or below. And it's like, do I really want to mess about with this? And of course, once you get to that stage in Kyber, everybody's going, well, we know about it. The second you scout somebody, you kind of go, that's there to counter my gas. That's not going on defense. And yeah, I don't think I've seen one that I can hit in the last 6 months. I'd love to hit it. It's funny to do, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you like setting your gas on defense and you don't have the, if you check and see your opponent's got that tenacity and you don't have the potency to counter it, you can always drop Arc Trooper out of the team and put in Krex. And that's just the end. Among the many things you will be doing to beat that gas team, Gar ISC will not be one of them. So you can just forbid that Krex in there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, when it comes around to it, it's like, Gast is just a beautiful character. I know that people will rip into mine because mine only just got to relics in the last few weeks on the baby account. But it's like, I want to take mine to R9. Like, yours is R9. It's an insane investment, but it's so goddamn worth it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that insane of an investment when in many datacron metas, he's a viable galactic legend counter. Like he's worth it. Like, I can understand you saying it's like, I want to do it, but I've got other priorities. I've got to do these GLs. I got to do these other, like, I need to do my Enoch Night Trooper DTP so I can do that event. I've got to do my Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan for their event. All legitimate priorities, I would agree with you, are higher than gas. But gas should be on the list somewhere, yeah.
Well, just to give you the laugh, on the baby account is Balin's Skull, and then it is Gas to R9. And they're my personal ones. And it's just I just want to be a dick. The sort of things that I throw on defense, people look at it and just go, like, as you know, if you're scouting through .gg and you start seeing those weirder teams, yeah, if you see a gas at R9, it's just like, I've got to make sure I'm checking that these are R9 gas, because that's a lot more protection than what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, JJ in the chat asked, why R9 and not stop at R8? Excellent question. It's because this guy's basically functioning like a raid boss on this team, and every little bit of everything that he gets from the 9 is of value. You get a little bit of damage. Okay, we want it. We do want it. You get a little bit of armor. If you're going with a 2-piece of defense like I do, there's a synergistic gain there. We'll take that. But what you really want is that extra big chunk of prot. You get a big chunk of protection going to Relic 9. And if you're like me, you're doing a protection primary on the arrow, on the cross, and on the circle. And you're going to have good offense secondaries on those. But I run a crit damage triangle. Some people even run a protection triangle. But over the years, I found I prefer crit damage myself. That said, I think I have offense and protection on that triangle as secondaries as well. That's what I'm saying. This is a very unique set for him. Like, I've cultivated the set that he's in really specifically. It's cracked, but every little bit of it benefits from that Relic 9. And that, when you're talking about a character where I'm trying to zero out his health but maximize his protection, having another 6,000 flat protection from going Relic 8 to Relic 9, getting fed through those protection primaries and secondaries,
yeah. Honestly, I really agree there that, like, if you are looking for a stat-hungry creature that wants all the stats, taking stuff like Gas to R9, Malak to R9, Malgus to R9. There are so many characters out there that just go, I either want health or protection. And that R9 bump, it doesn't matter if they're a tank or not. It's literally, here, have it. And you watch somebody crap themselves when they cannot deal with it anymore. Because it does change the world.
Have you got any comments on Gas, Matthias?
Gas is one of my favorite characters as well. I remember back when I first joined up with you, Mike, and was playing in the guilds with you guys. I felt like my sort of like rival in the guild was Zach, because him and I had very similar level accounts and we were near each other in GAC. And the main difference between our accounts was that I was knocking out like the Malik requirements and then going straight into Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, whereas he was doing a hard charge straight for gas. And I remember like the day he like was like, okay, I finally finished with gas. I'm not upgrading him anymore. I'm moving on to the next thing. I looked at his account and I was like, man, there's absolutely no chance I could beat this guy in a GAC. If he put gas on defense, I'd be completely fucked. I couldn't beat him.
We thought you fell in.
Yeah, we're just continuing without you. Don't worry.
All right.
That's my opinion on Gas. I think he's an absolutely amazing character. I think that whenever something new comes out, there's a solid chance Gas is going to beat it, unless it's a GL.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Let's go on to the lovely murder bucket.
To continue improving my account.
I'm also muted. I didn't realize that.
Yay! Trust Bones to be muted.
Yeah. All right. Next character is BT1.
Yep, the murder bucket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I chose this one because if you ever watch me use my Afro team, it's one of the sublime pleasures in this game to hit that middle button with the flamethrower and watch whatever it is go bye-bye. And then when there's anything that happens to survive, you follow up on that with them now being exposed and burned and shit, and then you do your murder bucket spin. So it's just death. Like I will just sit there on stream and wait for that flamethrower to go out and just bye-bye. Yeah, the entire enemy team just gets melted. And before someone asks, the reason he's at Relic 9, this is going to be the case probably for any of these attackers that you're looking at, is when you're packing enough offense onto these guys, whether it's primaries or secondaries, you're generally not getting a lot of offense going Relic 8 to 9. It's usually between 2 and 300, something like that. But 2 and 300 fed through a whole bunch of offense, like primary and secondary. Ends up, you can push that to be about 500-600 offense. And now there's probably BT1s that have higher offense than mine, but mine's really well optimized. Like up over 12,600 offense, over 85% crit chance, about 300 speed, a little potency to help, flames and stuff land, but he is murder made manifest.
Okay, Mike,
No.
are you taking notes on this one? Because when I use Mike's Afra, it just gets smoked by the smallest of things. So I need you to take
my
notes.
Afra BT1 000 have a lot of love. And I debated whether or not to include Afra on this list, and I figured I would just lump that whole thing in with BT1. Because that trio, they're awesome, man.
What's his Omicron? Is it TW?
No, BT1 and 000 both have 3 versus 3 omicrons, and
Afra has 5v5.
Really good. It's good for banner restoration in 3s. Yeah. It's good for banner restoration for banner's sake, and then also if you're taking on a more tough matchup where you really want that restoration to make sure you don't actually die, it comes in handy. Otherwise, like 2-turn torture from 000 is really, really good. But if you're of the mind to think about 3 versus 3 omicrons, definitely have Tusken Raider first. If you're ever of the mind, it took me a while to think that I'd want to set a GAC omicron that I could only use in one mode of play. But Raider was the first, and there are no regrets. In 3 versus 3, that is a Galactic Legend team.
Yeah, I love Afra. Like, I know Bones doesn't. I know Bones complains about her enough. But it's like, you get exactly that moment where you get to do the flamethrower, you get to do the I'm now going to do the spinny murder bucket of doom moment, and it's like, please just finish the team. And you're sitting there going, oh, you survived. BT1, just please gun them down.
He doesn't care about
gun them down.
He'll keep following up. Exactly. It's,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it is just so fun to watch. And yet they're not an easy team to mod, because you've got to get that delicate balance between, can I keep them alive? Can I do enough damage? And can I get enough debuffs out? And that's the bit that I think a lot of people do struggle with that team, is you've actually got to sit and get that balance. Now, I'll be honest, I don't use your one. I use Fatal's, because Fatal's Afra is scary.
What do you use Fatal's stuff?
Out of the three, I then go back to your BT1 for BT1 modding. And this is what I've tried to explain to people. Don't get pegged into one person, because I know we all do it. We look at hundreds of different teams, and the way your BT1 and his BT1 are very similar. But I love your BT1's ridiculousness. And it is that moment of, you have to like go, if I could have like Fatal's Afra, your BT1, and I think it's Cast 000, which is just mentally insane. It's like, if I could have the three together, it would just be like, oh god. That team, even in 5v5, I'll just be like, here's three of them, don't care, go kill.
I think that's really interesting. So, the way that, first of all, thanks that you referenced my mods, because the way that I make my mods for most characters is I'm looking at usually the top 10 or so players in Grand Arena and reviewing how they mod a certain character and making a composite that works for me. So mine could be a very good generic fit for many people if you can get the mods for it. Fatal's is, you can get amazing things out of there, but you can just go to my roster and take something that I've got, plug it and chug it, and you'll be okay. Usually with a lot of Fatal's specialty moddings, it's for an unintuitive application. It's not enough that you copy his mods. You have to know the intent behind it, because there's something there from just aside them being modded that way. So I'm curious, how does his Afra differ from mine?
He stacks even more potency than everybody. Substantially more, the last time I checked. And it is like, I completely understand why that is.
Yeah.
And it is just like, it's that moment of, the problem is he doesn't have a lot of health to back it up. So it's like that moment of, full well this is a very short fight, because if Afra gets hit, Afra's gone. But if Afra goes off, it's congratulations, Murder Bucket goes off, and the fight's over and done with.
It's true.
So that's why I love looking at the top end of GAC for modding. Because you're all nutters in your own right, but all of you have found those little tweaks that we all could go to and all could have some fun with.
Fantastic.
And there you go.
Womprat's just like throwing you under the bus. It's like calling you a nutter and
a
oh no, it's in a nice way though, because at the end of the day, you look at the modding. Once you get into the top 100, the modding goes mental.
Yes.
Once you get into that top 50, you start looking at it and you go, there are mod scores in the 20s up there. And you're sitting there going, what? I've only seen mod scores like to 10 to 12. But there's ones that are creeping into 20s, and I think there's one that's very close to breaking 30 at the moment. And it's like, wow, just how have you got those ridiculous modding? And the only way to do it is to keep trying. The more you try, the further you get, and the further you get, you end up like Tassenix, and it's like, how on earth do you compete with mods like that? But then you go into Fatal's account and you go, I'm just going to close that screen and not look at it for 5 minutes because I got scared.
How much of a weighting do you put onto the mod score?
I don't. I like that question. I don't. I check it every once in a while just to get the counts, right? Just to see where I'm at with the counts on certain speeds or whatever, just out of curiosity. But
Yeah.
I'm if you've ever watched my videos, I made a couple videos about how to mod. Like, assuming you knew nothing about modding, I made a couple videos teaching it from ground up. And the intent behind it is I'm always thinking in terms of characters. We spoke earlier about sets you might generically farm, but my goals are focused on characters, right? I'm thinking about who I want to specifically bring up and what I want them to do and what marks I want them to hit. And if you do that on a character by character basis over the course of the several years of this game, you end up with a huge mod score like mine. But I'm not saying that doesn't work. Like, there are players, like, for example, my opponent for this round is Pumper, and the account that he has arguably the best mods in the game. And I know that the guy that ran that account for years and years, that put that effort into it, he was checking his mod score at least weekly, because that was a thing. That was a goal for him, was to increase the mod score. I'm trying to get the characters in, to where I want them to be. And then, it turns out you get a good mod score along the way.
Imagine you get your ass beat by a guy named Pumper.
There are jokes. And I actually lost to him last time we fight, so I have to unpump the Pumper.
There's certain names where it's like, I can't get beat by this guy if that's his name. All right, so
What about
that's the worst legendary in the game. That's Afra and her supports, and whatever the hell else they are. Let's move along to the next one.
Terran Malakos?
So Terran Malakos is on here for similar reasons to BT1. He is the wrath of God. You'll see me on stream, like, when we go for rocks, it's just I'm sound effecting it there with him, and then they're just gone. They're laid out. They were, and then they were not. And the bliss on my face in the moment, you're just you're fighting the Rey team with whatever on there, however badass they're set up, and they are all laid low.
Can you
It's gone.
explain to Bones in like a sentence why the first set of rocks never does a lot of damage, but the second one seems to kill everybody?
It's because he ramps. He ramps offense and critical damage over the course of the fight. So his second application of that most certainly should do much more damage.
I already knew that.
You always complain about it. Every GAC, you're always like, I don't understand this team. At the start of the battle, it doesn't do anything.
I
All
see
of a
that
sudden, I
about every
throw rocks
team.
and the entire team goes away.
That's not true. I know more about the Seer Malakos team than any. It's my number one favorite team. So I'm not complaining about that. The other 99 teams, I'm probably complaining about because I don't know what's going on. But of all the teams that I know about, it's the Malakos team. Okay, I'm not.
You specifically, every time you use that team on stream, you're like, why does this team do no damage at the start of the battle, and then all of a sudden it just deletes everyone? Can anyone explain that to me?
I've never said that.
You do. Go watch your own VODs. You do every time.
All I have to say is it's my favorite team. I love seeing him delete people. It does take a minute, but all of a sudden he goes from not much to just complete destroying it. I have to use Star Killer with mine whenever I see Ezreal versus Rey. That's a cool team too. It's wasting two really good teams, especially with this datacron set. But you throw Star Killer with Malakos, and it's just insane. It's really fun. And fuck you, Matthias.
Well,
that's all I have to say.
Thoughts on Malakos?
Honestly, I love Malakos because it is that moment of die well, have rocks. It is literally have rocks, and you never care. It is that moment of, oh, you're there, have rocks. And it's like, did you die? No. Right, you're getting rocks again in a minute. And you're just sitting there just going, this is just keeping me entertained because I get to throw rocks at things. And it's the ongoing joke of which hits harder, rocks or Star Destroyers. Well, currently it's fucking rocks to the face.
Oh yeah, the rocks for sure. Yeah. Die, whelp. It was a joke when it first came out. Every time we said die, whelp, you had to go, die, whelp.
Completely fair.
It is a beautiful kit. It hits hard, which is hilarious. How hard that kit really hits. And if you do get it going, and the fight does take a little bit of time, because like Rey goes into damage immunity, and you can get those clips of the numbers and as they climb, and you're there going, but she's in DI, she's really early. Do I have time to do rocks and get back round to rocks to ramp it to stupid? And we've done it a couple of times, and there was one where we hit for like 3 and a bit million. And it's like, oh, he is just disgusting in power.
Yep. All right. So the next one I feel very sorry for because it's actually the only Relic 8 on the board. The rest of them are Relic 9s. Dark Trooper. I guess
MJ will be disappointed.
Why is this one
MJ
not
will be
Relic
disappointed.
9?
So this one isn't Relic 9 for, I guess, 2 reasons. First of all, I'm not using this character as much as I did in older times. So it just remains lower on the priority for me to do. And then second, when you're putting Relic 9 on an attacker, you're doing it for either it's an and/or situation. You're doing it for bulk reasons, or you're doing it for that little bit of offense that you can feed through a whole bunch of multipliers. It would be that latter case that I would do Dark Trooper to Relic 9, but you don't. But that you're trying to pick up another 500-600 offense on a character that otherwise wouldn't be getting offense, right? That's why I make the effort for BT1. He's not really ramping offense per se, whereas you have the Emperor's Trap from Admiral Piet on that on that Veers team that's feeding ramping offense. And if you're playing the team properly, you're basically taking turns and the enemy team's not taking turns. So your ramping percentage offense off that far more than compensates the bit of offense gain that I would get from going to 8 to 9. So that's the answer to that question. But as far as why this character's on the list, this is one of the characters involved with the Veers Trooper team, which is where I originally learned how turn meter calculation works. So this was a big turning point. This team in the game for me was learning how to math this team.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
That's
dude. So I'm completely free to play because I'm broke, not by choice. But this was like, I'll take time for like 2 to 3 months to do luxury teams, because I can't buy them, so I have to like take time out to like pretty much take the time it would to farm a GL, to farm 2 or 3 teams, to the relics and everything, farm them how I want them. And this is one of my first ones, just because I would see the things that people were doing. And this is a couple years ago. And still, I might use him every once in a while, not as much. But to see him punch people into oblivion is one of the most satisfactory things in the game. And he's one of my favorite characters. I R7'd straight away. He was one of my favorite luxury characters of all time.
Very fair.
One of the things that I love about him is like we don't get to use him as much now. Which, okay, fair enough. It would be nice to use him more. But a couple of weeks ago, I failed on the Lord Vader with bow, and I was there. What if I got spare? Punch bot. And it was that moment of, go kill Vader. Go on. Out-turn him, have him stop, and then just punch him in the face. And you're sitting there going, it'll go eventually. You've seen his health creep down, and punch bot eventually just goes, and he's dead. And you're just sitting there going, you did good.
And there's characters in this game that are just huge successes of like thematic execution. Like as far as translating that character from the movies or the shows into a kit in the game, Dark Trooper, you're thinking of the scene of the Dark Troopers beating in the door going into the Mando, right? And it's like, that doesn't even look like they're trying that hard. It's like, right, so in game he's going to hit like 4 times, crush a galactic legend, and none of those hits are a critical strike. That's our boy.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else, you guys? All right. Next.
I like him
I
in that
just love
Beers
him.
team. Yeah.
I love him as a tool in threes. People turn around and go, "Oh, you can't use him," and he's like, "You can. It's just sketchy as shit." And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, who cares?
Fair.
All right. Boss Nass.
Boss Nass is here because so when I set up my Swugga server, like Boss Nass is just a great character for me because he is bum bad boss man, and that's my role. That's my title on my Discord. I am the bum bad boss man, and so when they added him into the game, I could only offer a celebratory. When I saw it, so
I was going to ask you to do that.
He's an amazing character, and
good.
again, hugely successful thematic execution. You get the jowls flapping and everything with him. So, well done.
I was literally going to ask you to do that. That's hilarious.
You wouldn't have had to. Trust me.
Whenever I see Boombadeer, I call him Mr. Boombastic because it's just Boombadeer, and it makes me think of the wasn't me guy. What was his name?
Shaggy.
Mike. Who? Shaggy? Is that his name?
Shaggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Boombastic. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
So do you like the Gungans in general, or like are they one of your favorite teams?
As a team, I think they're really a good team. They're not one of my favorite teams for any particular reason. I find them very frustrating to fight against for a variety of teams. It's just the randomness and the complete chaos of it that's brought by Jar Jar's kit, really, which again, big success with how they implemented that character. If you had to make a kit design that basically achieved the aims of a whole bunch of random shit happens, but it ends up being good, there you go. You have him. Like, it's a whole bunch of chaos and unpredictability, and it works in your favor. So I like the team conceptually. I also think that, I wanted them to be good in the game, because the Gungans, as like a race in Star Wars, if we're talking about them in lore, they're actually incredibly badass. The fact that they're represented by Jar Jar, in our minds, is a shame, because they make no bones about it in the movie. He's kind of a dumbass and kind of nationally, like, it is a culture-wide known thing. That guy over there, huge dumbass. Nevertheless, we all think of him as the first Gungan that comes to mind. And so I think the Gungans got done dirty. A lot of people don't like Gungans because they immediately think of Jar Jar and they think about how annoying he is. And it's like, well, look, you don't have to like him. He was put there to sell toys to your kids. So don't worry about that. Focus on how much of a badass Boss Nass is. And then, they go and use him de Boomba.
Yeah, I mean, he was exiled when we met Jar Jar in the movies. He was already been exiled from his community.
It's true. Yeah.
Which should say a lot there. Jar Jar, the one we put on as say he is the typical Gungan, got kicked out of the frickin' community. No, he's not the typical Gungan. He's a dumbass. Like, don't get me wrong, I love his kit, and I love Boss Nass kit, and I love the actual team. But again, I have a love for the kit, not for the character. Especially with Jar Jar. Boss Nass, you see him in the films, and it's like, he's basically telling them, go through the planet. You might get eaten, but I don't care. Go on. And it's just like, you're a badass in a whole different way.
Why did Jar Jar get exiled?
Nobody knows. He never said.
He was asked, actually. Yeah, Obi-Wan asked him when they're in the little car going underwater. And it's like he basically, brushes it off, saying, like, it's like, I might have made one or two whoopsie daisies. Like, he just did Jar Jar shit. You don't need the details. You've seen what the character's about for the rest of the movies. Like, okay, I don't need to know exactly what you did.
He was exiled because Boss Nass knew he was a Sith.
They tried to get over it for a time, you can tell. And then eventually they're like, you know what? If it's going to be us or you, it's going to be us. Get the fuck out.
He was exiled because Boss Nass just had a gut feeling that Jar Jar was evil, and he was right because Jar Jar is a Sith Lord.
It could be.
I mean, if it wasn't for Jar Jar's vote, the Emperor would have never been into power. Because I just watched it with my son, actually, the other day, and I didn't realize that.
All right.
Oh, Jar Jar's fault.
Next top. Yep. Darth Vader.
Jar Jar did nothing wrong.
Darth Vader's probably my single favorite character in Star Wars. Just the ultimate, and maybe one of my favorite characters in fiction. Just because he's the ultimate tragic figure. Just the ultimate tragic figure. I committed myself and did the most and became the best just to safeguard what I love. And the more pure and the more focused and the more powerful I became in that direction, the more I became the agent of destruction of everything I loved. Like the tragic nature of the character is great. But also, as a character in the game, he was kind of meh for a long time. And then they did that rework, and that gave the authority that I was looking for. Merciless Massacre delivered the Darth Vader fantasy that I was looking for in this game. And if you recall, at the time they did that, that was also bundled with a Empire datacron set that allowed him to basically solo a Galactic Legend Rey team at the time.
Yeah.
You know, that definitely didn't deserve to stick around long term as a counter because it's insane. But that rework was unforgettable because that delivered the dick-kicking experience that you expect with the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I've said this with other people's 3v3, but Darth Vader is probably one of the biggest characters, let alone villains, in all of pop culture. If you've never seen Star Wars, you know nothing about Star Wars, you know who Darth Vader is. You know he's the bad guy. You probably even know, spoiler alert, guys, that he's Luke Skywalker's father. You know, my son...
What?
Yeah. I didn't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's about time that it came out. But yeah, I agree with that. Just in pop culture in general. Baddest ass villain, coolest voice, coolest outfit. His story arc is just amazing. Every time Luke cuts his hand off, even though he's the worst person in the entire galaxy at that point, it still hurts my heart to see him like... He's vulnerable. You know, he's been defeated for the first time ever. You see, like, it just gets me every time in the feels. But yeah, I agree. Someone else?
Yeah. My favorite character is Lord Vader. So, kind of, yeah. I grew up watching the prequels. That was where I started. And then I got onto the original. So I think probably if I'd maybe been 5 years older, it might have been a different story. But
yeah, I came up with the original film. So yeah, that you know, black suit Darth Vader was my Darth Vader. My first Darth Vader.
Mike, I was 9 years old and went into the Phantom Menace. I grew up with it too. How can you like the whiny Lord Vader over Darth Vader? Like, you're gonna really go here with this?
I'm with him. I like Lord Vader. Like when you see him in Episode 3, it's like my only thought seeing him was like, shit. It sucks that we don't actually get to see more of this Vader before he goes into the suit.
No, I agree. I think 3 should have been 2. 2 was so bad to me. I thought it was terrible. I thought 3 should have been 2, and we should have got like a cool Vader, pretty much a Vader only movie in 3. Even as a kid, that's what I was expecting. But no, I'm just judging Mike. It's okay if you like Lord Vader, but Darth fucking Vader, man, with the suit. That's premium Lord Vader right there. Real quick, Tass, do you think we'll ever get a Darth Vader in the suit like GL? Maybe like the Kenobi version of Vader or something with like a half mask or something? I just feel like he deserves a GL over Lord Vader.
I mean, I'll tell you this much. I really don't think so, no. Because like the only way they would do the half mask Darth Vader is if you did... There's only 2 times that we've really seen his mask busted open, if I'm correct. There's the one with Ahsoka and then the one with JMK, right? With Kenobi.
Yeah.
So those units already exist in various fashions in this game.
Yeah.
I just don't see the because you would introduce that split helmet Vader alongside presumably either one of those characters, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if they're not gonna, they probably don't really have a case to do that for those other characters. So I don't know that we'll see that. Plus, Lord Vader scratches my itch for having a Darth Vader Galactic Legend. His Force Crush with the days stacked on top of it gives that extra oomph that I would expect from a Galactic Legend.
Because I always sit here when I'm trying to predict shit, like, who else is, like, GL worthy? There's a few. But, like, Yoda, Vader, there's only a couple other that I can think of. So I'd always be down for one, but you're right, I don't know how they would do it, if that were...
Personally, I would find it kind of... I would think it's kind of lazy of them if I saw two types of Darth Vader as a Galactic Legend.
Yeah,
like it's
I
like
would agree. Yeah.
Like I get it. Like so much of Star Wars as a IP centers around the story of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. I get it. One Galactic Legend's enough.
I have
Do
so
you
much more
think
to
that
ask you,
they-
but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, so I'll just save it.
Save it for later. Yeah, feel free to ask later.
Do you think that they would do a Yoda? A GL Yoda? Like,
I absolutely think he's worth it, but the problem is that the Galactic Legendist version of Yoda would be like Grandmaster Yoda. That was him at his height, right?
yeah.
Not
So
not Acolyte Yoda.
not Acolyte Yoda.
The back of his head? You wouldn't want a back
At
of
the
your
very-
head, Yoda?
The fucking last episode,
Acolyte series
the
GLs
post-scene
with Darth Vader
credit.
and
That's not a
Grandmaster
baby.
Yoda.
That's a grown ass Yoda. That's no baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's the
That
same
is a
Yoda.
grown ass
Yeah,
adult.
Yoda's-
Old. This is. I've
Yoda is
already
like
been old for hundreds of
820
years. Yoda.
old when he dies.
I just feel like they had
Yoda's
Poncho.
species is like known to live for over 1,000 years.
I just wouldn't put anything. There is like a High Republic Yoda, but that's kind of what you're talking about. But I just wouldn't put anything past him when you have Qui-Gon and Poncho Qui-Gon. Like they literally just added a poncho to him. So I just feel like anything could happen.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I see why. I see why you say that. I do. Anything could happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could. But you got the poncho. You have to think about what it's in conjunction with. Why does Poncho Qui-Gon exist? Because of Queen Amidala. Because of Padawan Obi. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you can feasibly put together in your head, like if you wanted to have that split open mask Darth Vader, how are you going to introduce a new Ahsoka that isn't like any of the other Ahsokas? How are you going to introduce a new Kenobi that isn't like any of the other Kenobis?
Maybe maybe you would put Reva with the Inquisitors, and that would be an uplifter to the Inquisitor team because they kind of bowed down to him in Kenobi.
See,
Sure.
I think we're looking at this the wrong way. Instead of making another Darth Vader, because like you talked about, the actual Darth Vader character is great. What do we need to do? We need to make Lord Vader good. How do we make Lord Vader good?
You've wrestled them.
4 Order 66 501st Clone Trooper units. Give them the 501st tag, the Clone Trooper tag, and a new tag for Order 66. Add 1 splurge to Lord Vader's kit that says, if all allies are Order
Matthias,
66.
We're not
and
talking about
pursue
making
the Order
Lord Vader
66.
better. I'm talking about bringing a Darth Vader.
I
not
didn't.
Lord Vader.
I didn't say better. I said make him good.
I don't care about him anymore. He's old news. I want a Darth Vader with the helmet or half helmet GL. We're not making Lord Vader any worse or better than what he is right now. He's Lord Vader.
Darth Vader is already
Want
good, and he always
Darth
was
Vader to be GL level.
good. Lord Vader was always good. I push back hard on this narrative that will somebody make Lord Vader good? It's like, well, how much time did we just spend talking about and glowing up on Gas? How good a character Gas is. How good a team Gas is. Anyway, Lord Vader's just going to solo that shit. You can use Gas to kill other Galactic Legends. Anyway, you can just take solo Lord Vader and it's done. You put in Krex, fine. You put in High Armor Pen, fine. Still done.
I'm one of those Lord failure people. I'm an
I
after
only
hater and
know
Lord
this
Vader
narrative
hater.
because Lord Vader is Mike's favorite character.
It's fair. It's fair.
All right, let's move on. We are
Yeah.
way over time.
Executor.
Yeah,
Holy
so
shit,
the
you
Executor
guys-
is one of my very favorite ships in the game. Now, for the real OGs that were around at the dawn of time, back when WeTAS was in 5th grade, there was a Star Wars customizable card game, and I played, as you might expect, I played Empire almost exclusively, and I also had a very well-developed, Starfleet. I had the Death Star in my deck. I had Black Border Darth Vader, which is still behind me over there. But I also had Executor. Let me make sure that I got this on here. Let me pull up Discord so I know that I'm centered there. So this is the Executor card, and from the original Star Wars customizable card game. And what makes this thing so unique is that if you have a capital ship in this game, it'll say how many other characters, vehicles, and starfighters can be docked on it, right? And then you have to have that starship placed on the table at the site where there's a planet card. Like you either have physical locations, like the Mos Eisley Cantina is a location in a planet, as opposed to playing the Tatooine card, which is just the planet, and against that is where you would play your starships, right? So you have to play starships only on the planet. You can play vehicles, characters, stuff like that onto planet sites. Executor functioned like a fucking planet. You know how many starships and fighters you could put around Tatooine? Any fucking number. You know how many starships and characters and vehicles you can dock inside Executor? Fucking all of them. All of them. Anything. It says there's no limits. You can do it. It's the only thing in the game that was like it. So it's insane. It's an insane card. I loved it. And when they put it in the game, I was like, man, I really hope that they can pull off the scale of this ship. Because it's like, it's over 1 kilometer long, in lore. And you gotta do some work. You gotta do some work to make that thing, look good on a mobile game. And they did it. So it gets the nod from me because one of my favorite ships really brings me back to a great time in my childhood. And just, again, very successful thematic execution.
Yeah, I'm an original trilogy kid. Like, I was 2 years old falling asleep to Empire. So, yeah, that's in Return of the Jedi, like, just that big full scale fight. And like you said, the scale is just so cool. And it fits Vader as well, because he's a badass, and so is it. What's the card game, what's it called that you're talking about? I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
Star Wars CCG, Star Wars customizable card game. Came out in, I want to say, early to mid 90s. Discontinued in the early to mid aughts.
Okay, so the 90s, I think I remember that. I thought I don't know how old you are, but I thought you meant maybe like in the 80s or something. But okay.
No.
I think I might know what you're talking about. I'll have to look into that. So I like to do Pokemon and shit. So I like to collect cards.
Yeah, and we were talking about Darth Vader so much. This is not super de-duper rare. There's one version that's rarer than this, but this is still a fairly uncommon version of black bordered Darth Vader. There's like a Vader, there's a Lord Vader, there's like more common versions of this card, but this is Darth fucking Vader.
Huh. Yes, Matthias. Darth Vader. The best Vader.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, but
So, what do you think about the punishing one being added to the executor?
I like it because I have a poster in my bedroom of all of the bounty hunters that were shown on the bridge of the Executor. So I'm down with it. My only regret is that we don't have Forlum. We don't have Zuckuss. We don't have a couple of these others. But
yeah,
I was happy to have punishing one and added to the fleet for sure.
Forlom and Zuckuss are like at the top of my list of like, why aren't they not in the game yet?
Yeah, they got to be getting there at some point. We know that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Wouldn't be surprised if we see a Galactic Legend Boba Fett, like a bounty hunter Galactic Legend.
I'm not opposed to that. I mean, he's one. he only had before the prequels. He had the least, time on screen, but he was one of the most favorited characters in the entire fandom. So I'm down for that. Also, Mike, it's executor, not executor, like a damn hillbilly. Saying it like a freaking hillbilly.
Honestly, the ship itself I absolutely love. And it's just a really nice ship. Getting back to the ship, but it's like, holy shit. Like, you look at like all the games it's been in, and like there's been a couple of tabletop games where it's actually had a full-blown model. I've actually got 3 of them. All 3 from different games, and I've loved using them in all the games. Because it's like, I still play Star Wars Armada. I have actually got an executor that was repainted by me to be even more accurate to film. Because it wasn't close enough. And it's like, I'm gonna do shit like that because I love the shit. I love how it is. But even in games like that, you turn around and you go, oh yeah, so it does that, does it? And it's just like the fear of God moment in people, even in Armada, seeing that ship, and they just go, did you pay for PF? Yes. Did you pay for this on it? Yes. Did you add? Yes. Did you just put a... Yes. The answer's always yes. It was like, here is the most expensive part of my field. Don't care. So yeah, honestly, I love the ship. It's just insane.
I have a question for you. How are you beating I call it the dick plate because it looks like a dick sat on a plate. How are you beating it in GAC? Are you using the executives?
I'm usually saving Leviathan.
Okay.
I mean, I know that there's folks that are getting a lot of practice in doing the endurance, and stuff like that. That's when it goes sideways, then you might be in a really tough spot. And I'm having enough matches where the final score, the difference between winning and losing is less than a single drop type of thing. I don't do chancy. I don't do chancy with Fleet because Fleet more than anywhere else is where you're trying to maximize RNG, right? With whatever fleets you're playing on defense, your only real viability as a defense is either to set like triple meta and just hope that they screw something up and go really hard, or you set something like what I do most of the time is like Executor, Malevolence, and Radis, and I'm keeping Leviathan and Profundity for offense. But like for example, my Malevolence routinely gets holds. Because you're doing your negotiator or whatever counter for it, and you spent your time and your effort and your practice getting your executor counter right, and you beat my executor cleanly. Congratulations, 73 banners. And then you ate shit on my Malevolence. Hey, I'll take it, right? That costs me nothing. I'm not missing that fleet on offense, type of thing. So it's just if I'm gonna jam you up, I'm trying to jam you up on the ground because I have a lot more control over that. Like I'm trying to make sure that for fleets where people are trying to maximize their defensive RNG, you're not going to do that shit to me. I'm just coming at you properly. I'm bringing my Leviathan. I'm bringing my Profundity, and then that last fleet is usually getting Chimera or Negotiator. But no games.
Nothing irks me most than getting stopped on ships. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get that either. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys? Next.
Malik. Darth Malik.
So I was there at the dawn. That first, 24-hour run for Malik on his original release. This is wee baby Tass, who's only a few months into playing this game. And I stayed up. Like, that came out that day, and I didn't get to sit down to start doing it until like 9 p.m. I legitimately was doing that for like 5 or 6 hours. Like, I was dragging the next day at work because I was up late putting in attempts, getting that Malik.
Yeah.
But Malik's there just because he was probably the single hardest thing I've ever had to work for to unlock in this game. So that's one reason he's there. And then 2 is, this is one of my favorite fatal moddings that's held up over the years, is having Malik one faster than DR. The years of just free wins that I have gotten from people who are like, haha, my Veers is fast enough to outrun the Darth Revan. I checked. It's fast enough. It's going to work just fine. But they didn't check the Malik. And then the Malik does his special, puts up his taunt, and now what are you going to do?
That's funny.
So that's why he's there. Good times. Bad memories unlocking him. Good memories ever since.
His event still is probably one of the most unique events in the game.
Honestly,
it was hard because all this stuff you can kind of throw relics at these days. You didn't have that shit back then. You had
it's like
12, maybe the dawn of Gear 13, something like that. But you didn't have the stats to just throw at it like you do today.
No.
It's like even this with the Lightspeed bundles that have dropped. We did it on my 8mm account. It's still not easy. Even with the Lightspeed bundle, with the relics, you've still got to go, okay, well, I'm going to throw this at it. I'm going to add these Zetas. And it's like, hang on, this is an event that's how old? And we're being forced to add Zetas to actually be able to compete at it. And it's like, jeez, yeah, this is not an easy event. So, yeah,
He's
really fun, though.
He's also just still a badass character. He hasn't really moved up or down too much in the viability things. I guess Malgus might help that, but I miss the days of like soloing Padme teams when Padme was an actual defensive thing.
He's still meta, man. Like this Magma Trooper cheese counter to Ahsoka's right now. People are just throwing like Malik or Nest in as that last character. Because among the many things you're going to cheese out with troopers, it ain't going to be them.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's amazing how long he stayed around. In my eyes, I get that there's better characters, but he's one of the best all-around characters. You don't have 3 omicrons where he's only good in Grand Arena or TW or something. And a lot of those older teams that aren't omicron focused are staying around in the meta and may forever just because they're not omicron focused. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
He is still, like, we've had this conversation a couple of times now, but he is, when you're thinking of a single character, he is the best single character in the game. He doesn't need anybody else. He can solo stuff. It's not like JMK and you need Cat for him to be good. Plug him into somewhere like this Galactic Challenge. The no leader feat. You put him as the leader and put Darth Bane with him. Like, he is like singly the best character by himself. That makes
like even today, and I know the GAC that I've done today is a different case because we banned GLs. Nothing on defense, nothing on offense, which made it different. And it was like, I got to the back wall and it was like, it's a Mothma team. It's a Mothma team without that. I can do the Malik moment. And then remembered, shit, I used Malik on the front wall because I needed to, because I needed a Revan moment. And it was like that moment of, oh, fuck. Did I need him there?
Yep.
But he is such a good character. You see shit like Mothma and you go, if I've got him at Relic 7 or 8, I can cheese that. As long as like they haven't got Kyle in there, because Kyle fucks him over a little bit. And it's just like, oh, it's not there, I want to do it. And you can't do it because you've used it elsewhere. He is that good of a character. There are so many little teams you see and you just go, that's a Phasma team. I can eat that. And it's just like, oh, fuck.
One last thing to add to him is he's a Conquest MVP. Whenever you want to use Voluntary Vanguard or put the Watt tech on him to keep people away from other stuff, he is one of the go-to tanks you want in Conquest.
That's for sure.
All right, next.
Jabba the Hutt.
Again, just one of my... I spent a lot of time working on this guy. He's very fast. Like, I want to say 560. Over 200% tenacity. He's just a character I put a ton of love into. He's just a monster. But also, the main reason he's here... a among any of the Galactic Legends. I like virtually all of them. And I struggled with, wow, I'm really not going to put any GLs on this list. And I thought about Rey, because Rey is, undisputably the best defensive GL. Year in, year out, since she was added to the game. Like, she is just one of the most reliably high-performing defensive characters. But Jabba is probably the best thematic execution of any GL. Like, I get the full Jabba fantasy. He's a large character. He's the entire backbench, his damn self. Like, okay, he's displacing people just to make room for him. Check. Do I get, what's his name? Salacious Crumb in there? Check. Do I get, Jabba sound effects? Do I get Wu-Tai? Ho, 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 ho. And, and then, the authoritative experience. You can't tell me you're going to put Jabba in this game and not have some type of Rancor related experience. You get the Rancor. It's everything. It's everything you've ever wanted with a GL. It's just the authoritative GL experience. So there you go.
I mean, we are the Hutt's Hangout, and our guild is House of the Hutt. So you've redeemed yourself from any negative stuff by just including him. So
we're now negating your love for Aphra and Lord Vader.
No, we are.
I'm not taking that in any way at all. Yeah,
because
it's all good.
That's the views and opinions of Bones do not represent those of the community or the hosts.
I did love. I was like, everyone before he came out we didn't know what was coming, and everyone was like, "What would you want to see?" I was literally saying Jabba, Boosh, and Lando, because I as a kid I loved Lando. I loved Han and Luke in the Stormtrooper outfits. So I love whenever the heroes would dress up as bad guys. I loved the Skiff Guard. I loved the Bounty Hunter Leia. So I was really excited about it. The only thing I was disappointed in, and hopefully get someday, is like a Conquest Bib Fortuna. Because I gotta hear no Jabba, no bother. I gotta hear that someday.
Yeah.
But that's all I gotta say.
All right, cool. So that, or do you guys have anything for Jabba?
So the only thing I'm going to say about Jabba is when his event first dropped, it was brilliant. I didn't care about anything to do with it. It was that moment of the actual cinematics they put in with that really brought back that moment of holy shit, they have put effort into this. And since then, you look at the cinematics that they've put in this game, they have not let us down since Jabba. Like, if it's been a cinematic scene, it has been good. Yes, we bitched about Ahsoka's recently because they dropped us so close to TW, and it was like race to get in TW, race to get into fucking videos, fucking no way of skipping bastard videos, and we all hated it because everybody was like, I've got to get to TW, I've got to get the lock in.
Not everybody hated it. The people who were rushing hated it.
Yeah, but it was like, even then, you go back to them now, and those videos were really good. You look at Jabba's, yes, a couple of them were copied for Leia, which there are things we could say there. But at the end of the day, they were still used for the right reasons. So, yeah, those cinematics were bloody damn good.
Alright, cool. So that completes our 3B or 3x3. Some interesting picks. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, Tass.
But it's always.
But I didn't really feel a lot of pushback from any of you guys. You told me there might be some pushback. So.
No,
Well, Bones kept his mouth shut.
Bones with Afro.
Just the Afro one's all I'm pushing back on. But I'm not as smart as you. So I just probably use her wrong. And I also don't have her in my main account. Mike has her, but I think he has like one Omicron on her. So I don't think we're getting the most out of her.
Technically, I put up BT1. Technically.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. So yeah, it was perfect. 10 out of 10. Or
on a technicality.
9 out of 9, however many there was.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
let's get a move
Cool.
on here. We're at 2 hours, and we just got past the
Yeah.
intro. So, is there
my
any
God.
news that you want to talk about? Was there any news this week at all?
No, we
You
didn't
guys
have
talk
any
about the
news.
news for a minute. I got to step away and check on my daughter, so I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
Do your thing, buddy.
While he's away, we can do our recap of the Drumstick versus Choc Top
Oh god,
poll.
there was a poll.
You only wanted to do it while he's away because he voted on our side.
Who?
Yeah.
Tassenix. Did he vote?
He didn't vote.
No.
Well, he didn't vote in the poll, but we already asked him about it earlier.
There was an actual
He took
poll,
our side, yeah.
and there was 66% said no. They're not the
Yeah.
same thing.
And what's the next comment immediately after that poll?
I forgot to vote, but it actually is 50-50. But that's not my problem that you forgot to vote. Anyway,
But
It was rigged.
moving on.
Choc Top and
Confirmed.
Drumsticks are the same.
Confirmed.
It was
Drumsticks and Choc
Just because
Tops not the same.
because two people said no, they're not,
I didn't vote, so
and one of those is you.
I didn't vote.
Bullshit.
So between the two of us, we just cancelled each
Also,
other's
Mike,
vote
how
out.
many people
right.
voted?
None.
What about
that's
Bones?
Irrelevant.
Yeah, I bet there was
That
like
evens it again.
I bet there was 3 people that voted,
There was
There was 3 people that voted.
and 2 of them were like
Bones and
foreign.
Tassenix both say that they are the same thing, so there's more votes for yes, they are.
So yeah,
Tassenix didn't get the full picture. You showed him a dodgy picture, and that was leading the witness. Anyway, all right.
So this
No,
is
I didn't show him a picture of a drumstick. I told him to Google what a Choc top looked like and tell me if it's the same as a drumstick. And he said yes.
Okay. Anyways, stupid poll,
Yeah.
stupid argument. We've decided that it is the same thing. We can move
All right.
on. I forgot to
Yeah.
say this earlier, but it's not going to be funny anymore because the timing is so far off. But before I got live with these guys, I was walking through the house and my kid was watching VH1 and he was watching the rise and downfall of the Wiggles. I can't believe that he was watching that, especially when we talk about the Wiggles as much as we do. But that's my
And I
boy.
find that very offensive. It's very harsh to say the fall. It's more like a little dip in recognition.
Well,
Probably would be
The
the better
rise
way.
and plateauing of the Wiggles.
Well, no.
Yeah.
It's a fall
Yeah.
because you've had your theme park taken away in a matter of weeks because you were just there the other day and it was there and now it's not there. When you have a
Yeah, they didn't even announce it was going
that
away.
was-
They just got rid of it.
Nah, I did look back. They actually did, but I was just oblivious to it all.
and when it gets
My
shut
wife-
down. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nah. My wife said that it's been shut for like a year, but I haven't been down there. So,
And
yeah, they have slowly been changing it into something,
and
but I just didn't.
when it gets shut down because of a sex scandal, that's another, I would say, fall. You know.
So we'll get off this and we'll talk about the podcast guild whilst
Yeah.
Tassenix isn't here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
let us talk about the podcast guild.
All right, so we have come up with an idea of a very casual guild. Just we're putting that out as the highest priority, that it is 100% casual. Just like a collection of people who want to have a bit of fun together. We're happy for people on Womp's streams, also people from the Cantina, if they're interested as well. Mateus and I are actually starting brand new accounts. Bones is going to play his 1 million GP account, and Womp's got a 4 million account. So our off week, so this week where we haven't got any news, we would be doing a recap on basically what we, the 4 of us, have experienced in that little bit of time. And if there's any people who are listening who want to give their little bit of feedback, we actually have I've got a channel set up already. Basically, if you guys are like, I've just unlocked CLS or something pretty cool, then we would sort of mention it on the podcast and, get people on to talk about it as well if they wanted. So I did have the idea of starting it at the end of this episode track, but then I realized that's kind of irrelevant because you actually have to be level 85 to even get to use the episode track. So we've sort of I started an account this afternoon, and looks like Mateus is probably doing his now.
I'm going to start mine as soon as I'm done setting my TW defenses on my main.
Okay. And Wombat is actually in the guild already. He's the guild leader, and Bones is already in there as well. So if you do want to look it up, it is the Huts Hangout, like the podcast name. And I think it's open to join. Like, you don't need to... It's not a request thing, is it? Yeah.
No, I've said it can be completely open. The whole idea, guys, is you could... Like with my main at the moment, that's sat in there as well. It will get passed over to command to the other one that's my baby account that it doesn't get played a lot. But it's more, I will jump in and like, oh look, there's a raid going on, so I'll hit it hard for everybody else. The whole idea is you don't need to be a big account, you can be a baby account, or you could just be, I don't want to be in a stressful guild. I don't want to take part in every game mode. So I just want to play. Well, that's what it's there for. There's going to be, you don't have to sign up to TW, you don't have to do TB. Like, I'd like you all to do TB because, oh look, it's rewards for everybody. But we're not going to say you have to do anything. You could literally just chill out in there and grow.
So even if you just
wanted to the stores.
Yeah, even if you just want to move across an alt or something like that, like you don't, or I mean, you can move your main across there if you just want to play casually. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun, and yeah, and it'll give us a little bit of understanding or better experience to be able to have a chat to people about that sort of lower end of the game, because obviously, like, we're all sort of middle Kyber 2 or higher, and probably most of our stuff is kind of boring at times, just talking about the newest characters and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's just something a bit of fun that we can do as a group, and yeah.
Yeah, one thing for me, last thing is, like, personally, it's just fun because, like, I'm dedicated to my guild. I've been there for 5 years, so I would like to be in a guild with all my friends, but I can't be. I mean, Avant, I love my guild. They're my friends, but they don't socialize with me like you guys do, like the Huts do. So it's just nice to be in a guild with all my friends, and maybe something will come of it. Maybe I'll quit here in 2 weeks. We'll never know. We'll see.
So there is also a bet going on to see who out of the hosts is going to be the second to stop playing, because we already know Bones is going to be the first. So basically that'll be a poll going up at some point. Mateus, Wombrad, or I to be the second one to give us.
How do we determine that somebody has stopped playing? Is it 3 days of inactivity?
7 days inactivity. 1 week of inactivity.
Bane.
All right.
Yeah, this is the super guild you're looking for, Bane. Go ahead and apply, and we'll get you right in as soon as we can.
Tassenix, did you catch that whole little spiel about what we're doing?
No, let's not. Really
while I was dashing around in the background, refilling my coffee, hitting the little boys' room, and getting my daughter something to eat, I did hear a little something about you guys making a new guild. Some of your lower accounts.
So
basically,
it's already made. It is a guild for the podcast and the fans of the podcast.
Like, he already made fun of us for having a bunch of ults. You're not going to get him in here. So why are we going over this again?
Yeah. Well, Bones, how about
if you were trying to wind up to a sales pitch, I could save you the time and say the answer is no. But if you were otherwise wanting to hit some other points,
it wasn't going to be a sales pitch. I was just going to ask if you're interested, because we did talk about alts earlier. I was going to ask if you were interested in maybe trying to do a super casual free-to-play alt with us.
I do appreciate the offer. I appreciate the kindness with which it is offered, and I must respectfully decline, because I I'm not that person. You're saying you're going to turn it on and play it casually. That's you. That's not me. That's not me with any of the games I play. Like I'm not the smartest player. I am probably one of the most obsessed players. And like I can't put one toe in on a new account. That's just I can't do it. I'll end up spending time on it and then I'll get stressed.
Thank you, but fuck.
Personally, this is going to be the fourth account.
I'm myself. I'm in a very similar boat where it's like I will help where I can on there. I don't play the tablet account regular at all because it's on the tablet. I don't use the tablet enough.
So
but
I think this
it's like the other two accounts. I put in so much time and effort. Like what Tassenix said, when you go into scouting, it's like congrats. You're scouting for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And that's one person. I do not want to put that much effort into a third account. No, fuck that shit.
When Mike brought up this idea, I was like, fuck, I have to start this other account, but like I'm going to give it a try. So I'm not that excited about it either. This is purely Mike's idea, guys. So
yeah, Mike and I are the only people
idea. It's just not for me, and I'm able to recognize that difference between bad idea and not for me idea.
Yeah, I just feel like sorry. I just feel like we talk a lot about like the end game and then like nothing about the new game.
But we've been
that is undoubtedly
game. Oh, sorry.
That's undoubtedly one of my flaws as a content creator. Like when people come to me and they ask, I immediately have to send them away. I have to send them to Darth Loquitur or any number of other like early game content creators who will show them the right path to start on, because I wouldn't even know what to tell you. If you I was level 85 years before the new player experience that they added a couple of years ago, right? So, what am I going to tell you?
Yep.
So here's like a side tangent, but still on that same topic. Where would you break up end game, mid game, early game tutorial? What would you sort of? Is it a GP range? Is it you get to this amount of GLs? Is it end game? I guess is probably easier to say, right?
Yeah, end game is having all of the GLs and like all of the conquest character teams, stuff like that. Basically, you don't have to be endgame to have, you don't have to have all the newest marquees and the very newest teams to be considered endgame. It's that, are you working with a full toolkit or not? Like, as far as classifying late game, middle game, early game, I guess early game is probably up on below, like under 2 million GP, I would probably say is early game. I think that again, I'm not basing this on data. You're asking me, and I am just shooting from the hip on
just
that,
a vibe.
That's the best I can give you. So I'm saying probably under 2 million GP feels like early game. Mid game is a pretty wide path, right? Like 2 million to, I don't know, when do you feel like you're having like 7+ of the 9 GLs, something like that? Maybe 6, 7, 8. Like middle feels like it's a really big pocket in my brain.
Yeah.
And then end game is, I don't know, whenever you're 9+, like I said, maybe 9, 10+.
Like the thing that stands out to me a little bit is I'd say there's definitely like a later part to the mid game and a late game. Like an end game player is definitely somebody that's got everything, and they're likely to be very high end Kyber. And that's it. That's a very distinctive way. If you've got everything and you are high end Kyber, you are an end game player. End of. But I would also say there's like a later stage of the game where it doesn't matter about your GLs, it doesn't matter about your GP as much. I would say you enter it like a later game player when you start breaching Kyber. Once you start getting into that realm, your account explodes because you've got a higher crystal income. You've got all the extra bits that are coming along with being in Kyber. You're learning quicker and quicker about this counters this, this counters this. You make your account stronger for the purpose of keeping yourself in your crystal income, which means you're entering that stage of the game where you're no longer playing, oh, I'm going to chase this. You're now playing the game of, I'm going to keep on top of the meta because I need to win to keep my crystal income. And that can happen a lot earlier in some accounts. It happens later in others. These Lightspeed bundles kind of made it where, like, you look at my 8.8 million account. That was made on the 4th of July, 2023. It's at 8 mil. It's not 2 years old.
See, this
and
is
I hang around at the bottom end of Kyber.
See, as I'm hearing you give this breakdown, because you've actually played through different points of the game that are not the late game here in the last couple of years, I'm realizing, how out of touch the answer I gave you really is, because, under 2 million GP fits with my memory.
Yeah.
So surely that early game goes on for a lot longer, and I think somebody just said here, Array Scarata in the chat says, if you can't do hard conquest, I think you're in the tutorial. I feel like at the latter end of the mid game, I feel like it's a reasonable spot to start expecting people to red box. But that's just, again, a feeling. All this stuff already came out when my account was already, for what was then, at that time, end game. So I've just been riding endgame for so long, it's very difficult for me to have a realistic view of where and what defines the other bands,
Yep.
And I guess
It's
it changes the longer we go on, right? There'll be something that'll, like the 4 million mark where you sort of can't do hard conquest and that sort of stuff.
Oh, I see. You have to have 4 million to enter. I was thinking about what you need to earn it. Like, is 4 million enough to actually earn it, though?
Yes.
Not
you can actually do it quite comfortably.
Okay.
I mean, hold on real quick, though. If you did your roster right, I've seen 8 million accounts with 0 GLs. So if you prepared your roster right, then you can do it.
So one of the accounts that I do conquest for, he is 4.5 million, so he's not big. He has no GLs, and I can red crate with that account every time.
That's solid.
I've red crated the last 2 with it comfortably. Wow. But his account is very well developed. It's very focused. It's not, oh yeah, I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like when Padawan Obi-Wan dropped, he messaged me saying, oh, I'll put the Omicron on in time, don't worry. And it was like, that, just that alone turns around and goes, all those you need to do this feat get written off. It's just, here's Padawan Obi-Wan, don't care.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Let me flip the question back around on you guys, though. Like, when most people, when they ask me about, oh, Tass, where would you go for the early game? Nobody's really asked me about the mid game. So I don't really know anything about that. But for early game, I'm usually pointing folks to Darth Loquitur. I'm not often checking his stuff myself, but the last time I had looked at it, it was very well done, carefully considered, logically consistent, and his videos kind of build on each other. You can start at one point and, the things that he's teaching you in sequence, the right way, like a math teacher teaches math. But who do you guys like? Like, if we had to say like an early game and a mid game creator, just one. Like, if you had a friend who was interested in playing this game and you don't want to overwhelm them, you want to give them like, okay, early on, go see this guy. Mid game, see this guy, and then late game we'll talk about later. But like early and mid, go see these one names. Who are you naming?
That's a good question.
So when Scribe started his baby account, I was interested in that, and he is putting out a lot of good things with that. Like, he's purposely started a free-to-play, it's a very young account, and he's doing GAC now, and it is really good. Mid-game
really
wise...
entertaining and informative. I like Scribe a lot.
Yeah. Mid-game wise, I turn around to a lot of people and say, don't just watch the people, watch the content of the news. So watch people like Scribe, watch people like Arnold doing all the kit breakdowns, watch people that are playing in the higher end because you're heading that way. There's no point in going, oh, I'm just going to start mid-game and I'm not going to look at the end game. If you're planning in your mid-game to be an end-game player, you're going to hit like a truck when you get there. Which is why I love how I've planned my account. It's like people go, oh, but you're missing your Evans. And it's like, yeah, but the Lightspeed bundles covered that. And they were like, oh, but you didn't know they were coming. And it's like, no, but we can put an educated guess together. Like, I'm guessing the end of this year, we're probably going to see Lord Vader. We're probably going to see Kenobi. Why am I going to farm either of them right now? I'm not. So, the end of this year, okay, here's 2 more Lightspeed bundles. Oh, look, it's Lord Vader Kenobi. Well, oh, look, I've now got the requirements for Lord Vader and Kenobi to do. But other than that, I'm just going to focus on things like Balin, getting that early. Even though, yeah, I got him on the second run. He's still a fucking problem. There isn't that many clean counters to him. And yeah, all the data at the moment's going, here's his datacron. Guys, there's a problem here. His datacron's gone and all the data's for his datacron. We ain't got any data clean yet. So it's like, come on, let's find the fun bits of this game. And that's why I say to people so often, go after the new stuff, because forget about the old shit for now. Play competitively, love peeing about with the new shit. Even if you only get it at 5-star, you can have more fun with it. You can actually compete. And the amount of times that I've put stupid shit down on defense, people have hit it because they aren't keeping up with it and they fuck up. They preload it and it's over. Congrats. You've just lost because you aren't keeping up with just information. And that's probably the more important piece when you hit that. I'm no longer a baby account. I'm starting to do hard conquest. Get away from watching people that are only putting that information out. Go off, watch people do the harder side of modding. Watch people like Tassenix at the top of Kyber, where it's just, oh god, they're having to find a stupid answer because, oh look, Bane fucked up on QA. What do I do now? What's my new answer? And it's that moment of, I don't know, what can I do? And by seeing players do shit like that, is all of a sudden you start realizing, well, if I can get Bane and I can get this and I can get this, I can get around Kenobi. Or I can get around this. Like, I destroyed the first, like, my main issue for the last year has been Kenobi. Somebody has Kenobi in GC, I have no counter. Now, Balin. Bye! Put it on auto, walk away. He'll die. Don't care.
Do you are you also not yet having BKM or Reva?
I don't have Reva. The very first major character I got was Bo-Katan, and I got her on the second unlock as well.
Okay, and you have not had good luck doing BKM versus JMK? Because I'm not usually having to do that fight myself, but I remember when I had to, that seemed pretty safe because you get the free revive when Cat does the execute, right?
Yeah, so I'll either get incredibly good luck or I'll get Cat do the execute and then they'll go all in on Bo when Bo dies. And it's like, oh, fuck off. Where now, having that extra answer, it just means, well, I've got Balin, I'll throw him at it. If I leave it weak, I can then counter it with something else. If not, fuck it. I'll just throw Bo at it and hope. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a huge difference between mid-game and then early game or tutorial or whatever. Where early game, you're more limited on what you can farm. You need to do a lot of things first. But once you hit mid-game to where you have the basics completely taken care of, you can go any direction you want. You can straight away start farming Glat if you want to. I'm not saying it's the best idea. You can just go right for Balin, or you can go work on some old stuff if you want. Pretty much the sky is the limit once you take care of the basics in the early game.
So if I'm trying to recap your answer, Womprat, as far as like early game, you're really feeling Scribe right now, and then mid game, you would say something like Arnold, somebody that's covering a broader base of content.
Like
So okay.
I would still use Scribe as well because he covers all the GCs and all that weird and wonderful shite that nobody likes. But I on top of that do Bit Dynasty. I know Bones, shut up before you do it. I know what you're gonna do.
That's why I didn't want to put the burden on you to name them all, but because I said you could pick pick one to like shoot a friend on, because the thrust of the question is like, when new players come and say like who you say, you can't rattle off like 4 names like for early game, 4 names for mid game. They ain't gonna remember. They ain't gonna see none of them. So Scribe you could just stick with. You're saying, and that's a good way to go.
But it's on top of that, like, I've actually got a friend that is starting at the moment, and I said to him, yes, watch Scribe, yes, keep up with the news, at least to some degree. But it's also, don't just limit yourself to, this is the only creator I'm going to watch, because we all have different opinions. We all may have different opinions on a singular character. Like, at the moment, we all probably think Batra is a very dull character. There's not much going on there. But I'm sat there going, well, what if the rest of the unit starts playing with him? And that's what I'm excited for. It's like, yes, he's a dull character. But what happens if they do this? And it's that moment of, come on, let me play, give me the new shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Bones, I wanted to turn it back to you because I wanted to wrap up, like, Womprat's thought on who he would recommend, but, like, you have these thoughts on how you define early and mid-game, but who are you turning to? You got a new friend coming to you saying, man, how would you get me started? Who are you pointing me to early and mid game? Just one name for each.
It's not an easy answer. So I'm going to be honest.
Okay, that's why I'm trying to keep it simple.
I know. So I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched Loquitur. I've known his name for many years now, but I've never interacted with him, and I've never watched his videos. And that has nothing against him. I just haven't, But I'm seeing in the chat that it's a very popular one. They're saying for a new player. I'm going with chat because I don't watch new player videos, right?
Fair.
The only time I will find a younger player with younger GP is when I'm scouting somebody to come on to the show, because I like to bring up the smaller guys. But, like most of us, I'm not looking for that content. But as like you're saying, when I'm streaming, people will go like, how do I beat the Padme event? I have to send them somewhere else. I feel kind of useless because I do the same thing. So I kind of agree with Zareth. I think Zareth, Scribe, like whatever's been said already, but I would say Zareth and Scribe, they cover all of the content. Zareth has had an alt account almost his entire career, I would say. I've even matched up against his alt account before years ago. So anyone who plays both, I know Arnold does his alt account. So I think any of the content creators that just because they're big and they have an in-game account, there are still those really big content creators that do play a smaller alt account, and they've been through it, and they've made guides, and there might even be retired content creators that have old beginner videos that might still help you, because some things have evolved. Really, how you approach the beginner game hasn't changed much. I would still tell people to go for Phoenix, just get Captain Rex instead. I would still say either go Bounty Hunters or Imperial Troops as well. So not a lot has changed as far as that goes for the beginning game. But like I said, as far as approaching content past beginning game, it's the same as approaching content creators. I don't have an answer. So for the beginning player, I don't have an answer for you. But once you get past that part, there is someone out there. You can watch anyone after you pass the beginning part. There are a few things you should do.
So if I've got you correct, for early game, it's no one you recommend. And
don't watch anybody.
Anyone.
Yeah, don't watch anybody at first. Just start clicking buttons.
Nobody, then anybody.
Yeah, and then after that, it's just anyone that you want. Sorry, that was very long-winded and nothing got anywhere on it.
No, it's okay.
Right.
Well, which one of you wants to tackle that next, though? I'd love to hear what the rest of you guys think about that.
Yeah. So my opinion on both of the questions related to this, the what constitutes early, mid, and late game, and then what content creators to watch. I think my definitions for early, mid, and late game are early game is when your farms are kind of forced upon you. Like you don't really have much choice but to farm for Emperor Palpatine or Thrawn or the Chimera because you need those things in order to keep moving forward. Mid game is when you can choose what you want to farm, and end game is when you're chasing the newest thing.
Okay.
As far as the content creators go, well, I didn't answer the other question before about what constitutes witch bones, so maybe you should shut the fuck up while I'm talking. Uh, as far as what content creators to watch, I am of the opinion that Zareth is the best for all of the walks because you can analyze anything that he's saying. You can apply it to your account in some way. He's always going back and making videos saying you should work on these teams. And it's not always just the newest teams. Usually one of the newer teams is highlighted in it because the newer teams tend to be good and on top of the meta. But he's had plenty of times where he's gone back and said, you're not modding CLS correctly. Let me show you how to do it. CLS is a very early game team.
He is fantastic. He really he's so good. And I guess I think of him as late game in my mind now, so that's why it didn't immediately jump to me. But you're right, because he does level up new accounts and stuff like that. He is very capable of teaching mechanics straightforward way. I've loved his content since the beginning.
So this is why I'm struggling, right? Because I feel like I'm so distant from early game that my head, Arnold has his every year has that free to play guide. That's just where my head goes to. Wouldn't have a clue who else is actually doing early game stuff. I guess I'm going to find out in the next couple of weeks. And I'll be able to answer your question better then. I think if I had someone who was coming brand new to the game, I would tell them to either watch either Scribe or Arnold. Probably Arnold beginner game and then Scribe from mid game onwards. I think that they're a good balance of sort of the entertainment and knowledgeable stuff. Without sort of like, if you want to look further into it, then you'll have more specific creators and that sort of stuff. But I think overall would be those. Hopefully they good enough that they sort of keep the people entertained enough that keep playing on a bit and then look into it a bit more, and yeah.
I think the answer we're looking for is Ginger Jesus. For everything.
Does he make informative videos, or is it literally just...
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah. Tass,
it's just him flipping out about...
Tass, do you know who Ginger Jesus is? Hold on.
No, I have no idea. I'm trying to straight face it and play it cool like I know, but I don't know.
Oh, hold on. I don't know what that was. No, I want to send you... Everyone is like, I'm not watching that, but the people who actually will take the time and watch a few minutes of his GACs, he is hilarious. I'm going to send you a link to one of them. But imagine like raging, but in Bob Ross ASMR voice. And he looks like Jesus. It's something I have never seen in Swilga content creating. He's very unique, and we're going to get him. He's going to come on Scoundrels in a couple weeks, but that was just a joke.
Dig that.
But let's move on, guys. We're going to be here for 4 hours, literally.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the one and final topic for the night before we get into the questions is Dark Side Rey's unlocked in 2 days and some hours, probably like an hour or something. Just
3 hours.
Quickly. Okay, sure. What are we gonna unlock her? Where are we taking her to? and number of omicrons. Tassenix, special guest, you get first go.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, immediately R9, all 3 omicrons. Speed, health set. The default modding that is going to be more accessible, I think, to most people is speed arrow, crit damage triangle, offense cross, health circle. But the stretch goal would be probably still a speed arrow, because if you're going with the speed set, you really don't want to trade away too much speed at all. But if you had an extraordinarily fast health arrow with offense secondaries and crit damage triangle, again a fast health cross, strong offense secondaries, you're working with a monster. The Relic 9 will turbocharge those health primaries, because you're also having the circle. So you'll be huge. You'll be fast. If you've got robust offense, you're not sacrificing too much of that true damage in her kit, which would otherwise make you think to put her in an offense set, which I don't think is bad. I just think that I'll make more use out of that 50% speed. When I think of things that'll give Slacker trouble, if I set it on defense, it's probably teams that do debuffs. And, Dark Rey's like, please, let's have them debuffs. I'd love the 50% additional speed. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Right.
Relic, are you going to you'll get her unlocked day 1? Relic 9, by the sound of it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry if I didn't say that immediately. But yes, like immediate first day 1 unlock, straight to Relic 9, all 3 Omis. But people ask all the time, which order would I get the Omis if I wasn't going to do all 3 at once? You could make a reasonable case for Unique 1 being the highest priority. I think people like the Ignore Taunt a lot. Personally, I like Unique 2 a little better, but I think that's just a personal preference that may not necessarily be the most meta consideration. But like, Ignore Taunt on offense, to me, is like a win harder with Slacker. Because I have a couple means of getting past your taunt just with the base Slacker team as it is right now, right? So Ignore Taunt is but I've had some folks in Discords push back and say, well, yeah, but now if you're going to be able to put Slacker on defense with Dark Rey, then the AI being able to ignore Taunt is going to mean a lot more. And I concede that point. Otherwise, I like the Unique 2. That's the you can't, she's untargetable. Like you can't kill her until everybody on the enemy team is gone once, or you've killed one of them, something like that. And then it also has the restoration built in for the team on that Omicron. So you could, you choose which way you want to go with the uniques, but I would do both of the uniques before I would take the special. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right.
Most
So,
importantly,
hold on.
Wait, before he finishes, most importantly, what is your nickname for her? That's the most important thing. What are you calling her, Beth?
It's going to be Dre. I thought about it. It's going to be Dre. I'm going to, because here's why it's going to be that way? Because that's how I'm going to write it in on my spreadsheet. It's DREY on the spreadsheet. That's how it's going to be. And I'm just realistic with myself about it. At first, I was like, am I really going to call her Dre? And it's like, yeah, well, what the hell else are you going to call her when we all know what I'm writing on the spreadsheet? So it's okay.
I like it. Yeah, I like Dre the best, too. And I like Dr. Dre, so I'm all in. And it just makes sense. Dark Side, D, and Ray. All right. It's just been the entire community couldn't settle on it. Tassenix has settled it. Matthias, you weren't the first. Settle down over there.
Yes, I fucking was. I said it too.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the first.
20 people watch our podcast. You didn't start Dre. It's not that hard.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
All right, Matthias, are you going to unlock her?
Yes, I am going to unlock her day 1. I do want to point out one thing about if you're planning to put SLKR in defense with her and you're limited on Omicrons. For Ignore Taunt, the AI will still sometimes target Taunt even when it has the ability to ignore it. A lot of the time it's what it prioritizes, but I would say there's still a solid 50-50 chance of it targeting the taunting character. So if you're looking to skip on an Omicron and you're planning to put this team on defense, I would skip that omicron.
Okay, so you're going to answer the question now?
Yeah. So as far as modding goes, I think offense set 100%. I am torn though with the secondary set between potency and tenacity, because if you go on swigo.gg and you look at her base stats for Relic 8, which is what I'm planning to take her straight to, her base potency is 66% and her base tenacity is 79%. And for a character that is going to be debuff heavy, you're going to want a much higher potency than that. And for a character this important to the team, you're going to want her to have a much higher tenacity than that.
But
So,
don't you want her to get debuffed so she gets the speed up?
maybe it kind of depends on the debuffs, though. Like,
Well,
'cause
you said she has a
I'd
base.
have to reread her kit, but she's not immune to stun, right?
I don't think so, no. But you said that she has a base tenacity at Relegate of like 79%.
Yeah.
So I immediately, like when you said how high her potency was, I could see the case for a potency cross, so then you're safely right around 100 with any incidental amount of secondaries. You'd be in a reasonable position just off of a cross. I can see why you'd say that, but the amount of tenacity, realistically, I mean, when you're trying to impede somebody from debuffing in the today's game, we're thinking like 200% tenacity, right? Like not less than 180. If you're seriously trying to actually stop it, it's got to be that high, and that feels like a lot to have to put onto her, because how, like you're saying you want to go offense set, how much stat budget would you have to trade away on that offense set to make sure you had enough tenacity through secondaries to complement your two piece, you know?
Yeah, true. Because I mean, if you did a tenacity set and a tenacity cross, you're looking at putting her tenacity up to what, 120%.
Yeah,
With
la di
secondary,
frickin' da, right?
you're gonna get
Like your point
130.
about potency is actually really good.
But yeah, so maybe like Mike said, when she's debuffed, she has her increased speed. So maybe just leaving her tenacity alone, getting what you can out of the secondaries, but not really making it a priority. But I would say, and especially like you're saying, a lot of people are going to mod for 180 to 200% tenacity to try to resist debuffs. I would say offense and potency with a potency cross is the way to go.
I honestly like it.
So, for me, I am unlocking on both accounts. The big account is ready to go to Relic 7. It's only going to have one army available. So I've been tossing up between the two uniques for the last week going, which one am I doing? I still have no clue. I really don't. And it's like, as Tassenix said, there is reasons to do Unit 1. There's reasons to do Unit 2. I still don't know what I'm going to do. Like, over the next month, she'll get all the armies, and I don't care.
So do one on one account and do the other on the other account and see.
The other account will not be able to get her to Relics day one. It doesn't have the gear. It is not a big enough account to stockpile gear like that. And it's like, it's probably going to be a month, maybe two, before she actually ends up at Relic. Because it's like, next month, I'm likely to unlock Leia on that account. So it's like, who do I want more? Side Rey or a GL that I'm going to have to get two of the what ultimate mats for, and then has got the ult. C is sitting there with one away from having his ult, and he's never getting it until I've got Leia. Because I'm sorry, Leia's more important. And it's one of those of that account is very much in the game where it's what is the most important to me? That's getting all the shit given to it. So yeah, the big account, I have no clue how I'm going to mod it. I just want us fucking fast and watch people crap themselves when she starts running away.
No, you go one, because I've got a question for Tat before I answer.
He just answered.
I've done.
He just answered.
Sorry, you.
Me?
You. Yeah.
Well, I'm not very informed on this subject because I don't read kits. I don't remember them after reading, and I won't have the gear I need to take her straight to relics. But she will unlock day 1. I will instantly start putting gear into her and chipping away at the gear. She will be my main focus. I'll take her straight to R8. By the time I get all the gear done, she'll be able to go to R8. And I won't have all the Amis, but my next 3 Amis are going on her. I'll talk to some of you guys or something to see what you'll already be using it by then. So what the best one is.
You'll be testing it on my account.
Yes.
And not to distract too much with the conversation, just a real quick to you, Bones. Speaking of recent unlocks, how are you liking having some experience now with Balin?
Oh, yes. By the way, thank you for that, brother.
You're so welcome. I just want to hear how you like it.
Because
I know you were a long way away from him up until, me and a whole bunch of people chipped in for you to get him. But how you liking him?
I love it, dude. Well, first of all, he's a very beloved character of mine. I like him since we saw him in Ahsoka. But yeah, I 3v3 to JMK, I think, which was, how cool is that? Like, there's not very many teams that could just slice through JMK's kit like that. So we've only had, I think this is our first GAC with him. I don't think I did. Yep. I might have done 3v3 with him, but I don't think I did. So I've only got to use him a couple times. But what I have done, I think I tried to take, I had nothing else to take against Leia, so I think I had just tried to throw him against it. That didn't work out. But no, it's been great. I've been keeping him on offense just to have that extra offense. But so to answer, I took out a JMK 3 versus 5, and that was pretty satisfactory.
That's substantial, yeah. So I appreciate you answering. I'm sorry to pull away from the conversation. Back on topic.
No, you're good. But I do want to thank you and Mike, and also helped out old man Logan. So yeah, I appreciate you guys because I was really, really sad that I was so close and I couldn't get him. So it does mean a lot.
Yeah, it's like I sat there when it was just starting. It was like I was only just ready on both accounts, and it was like, Jesus Christ! If this had come any earlier, I'd have been screwed. The same point where Bones was. It was like, fuck, shit, no, don't come yet. Where now it's like, now that event's done, it was really good fun. It was stupid. Both of them are relicked on both accounts, and it's like, honestly, I sit there and love the character. And I love the fact that Bones has got Balin as well, because the character is really stupidly fun, and it can do some stupid shit, and scare the living shit out of people as well, in hilarious ways.
Alright, so Tassenix. Sell me on Relic 9 versus Relic 8. I have 2 of the keypads that I'm missing to be able to do Relic 9, which is
for Rey.
That's all I need. Yeah,
for Rey?
Dark Side Rey.
All right, here's your test. You don't need to have the health arrow, in my opinion. But if you do not have a health primary cross, that is fast. That also has offense on it. Ideally, good percent offense secondaries. You don't need to rush for it. Because the case for Relic 9, I like Mateus's case for potency cross. And if you're doing that, I think Relic 8 is a just fine place to leave her. But the reason to go to 9 is to seize on the life total advantage. Having her do more and having her land her buffs more reliably, offensively, is a reasonable thing to do. My view on her, at least at first, is that her disproportionate value is from just staying alive as long as possible. She brings a lot of passive effect to the board, and maximizing that, at least at first, feels like the right thing. So that's why if you don't have that health primary cross to really have that big multiplier to push through that big chunk of health you get from going to Relic 9, it's not that big a value, Ideally, I'm going to have that cross ready immediately, but I have fast arrows that I could use, but they're 26, 27 fast, which is good. It's good, but not good enough for me because we're talking about complementing a speed set. Why am I talking about dropping 6, 7, 8 speed off of something like a speed primary arrow just to have health if I'm also running a speed set. So you might disagree. You can say, "Oh, Tass, that's easily worth it to have the health primary." Okay, because that's what I'm going towards anyway. The more health primaries you can throw on her with that crit damage triangle as well, the bigger value you're getting from the Relic 9. So that's the case, is to capitalize on health primaries.
Yes, Matthias?
Is there, I don't remember her kit 100%. Is there a reason why you're prioritizing health primaries over protection primaries?
I know she has protection recovery when she does damage, but yes, there is. I have to look at it real quick. No, not that one. It's her second unique in our nature. If all allies are first order at the start of battle, Rey gains 100% max health. Same reason you would bias for health primaries on Night Trooper, but you might go for protection on the other troopers on that Great Mother's team, or the other attackers on that team. But specifically her, double health is good.
I agree. I didn't realize that was part of her unique. I tend to prioritize on most characters a protection primary over a health primary, just due to dots, thermal detonators, Darth Malik, anything like that.
I think that's a reasonable position. Like, unless you see synergies that are specifically favoring health, for most characters, I want to say, you get more life total out of a protection circle than you would a health circle. So I'm with you. You need an affirmative case to go for the health circle, and you have it there. And that's part of her base unique. That's not rolled into the Omi or anything.
Okay. All right. There's a couple of health sets there that I could probably use, but they're sort of like 20 speed, so I've got to slice them a bit more to make it up.
Well, again, I'm playing in the very top reaches of the top of Kyber 1. You probably don't need to hold yourself to that same standard. You could very profitably run with a 20 speed health primary arrow, hopefully with, again, some good offense on it, and be just fine. I'm really picky because I have to be. I'm fighting people where I've got excellent mods. I'm fighting people that have like 1.5 to 2 times my mod count. Like, I have to be flawless. I have to give every little edge that I can to my characters through modding and balance that on the head of a pin as best as I can, because I refuse to spend good money on datacrons. I'm gonna put money into what I get to keep after 4 months. Question to me in the chat from Inquisitor. Tass, are you recommending blazing fast, like as fast as possible? Anytime that you're running a speed set on any character, faster is better. But she specifically is gaining 50% more speed, so the more you can push through that, the better. But it's all about competing priorities. Like in a vacuum, sure, as fast as you can. But like that's the same sets I'm talking about. I also have on SLKR. Am I robbing SLKR for Rey? No. So yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, Tass, the real important question in the chat is from Shaka. Will health sets with 10 speed work? Asking for a friend.
Technically, yes.
Bones is that friend.
Technically, it works. Technically, it meets the condition of being speed health sets. As far as being fast enough, your mileage may vary, but the answer is technically yes.
I like it. Guys, we're at 3 hours. Tassenix, I could talk to you all day long. I have so many things to talk about, but unfortunately, we are hitting that sweet spot, and we're probably going to move on.
Yep, so let's try and fly through the questions as quick as we can, then. Because that's what we've got left to do. Let's get through.
Is that Matthias?
Let's have it. It's a blitz.
Yeah.
Ballroom blitz.
What?
Right, Aussie Mike, you may begin. Let's go.
No, it's Matthias reads.
Matthias.
Or am I
Matthias reads.
I asked what you guys were talking about. My thing cut out for a second there.
It's Tassenix is
podcast question.
Tassenix is going to read the questions, I think. I'm just kidding. No one can decide who it is. I'm just fucking with you.
Go. Matthias.
So our first question this week comes from Jack Daniels. He wants to know, what tags should Jod and or SM33 have if they come to Swigo? And since we're not asshats and we allow more than one question, what is our favorite place to enjoy a chalk top / dipped ice cream cone?
All right.
So that was several questions.
Tassenix, you start with the serious question, and then we'll go to the fun part.
I'm still distracted by the drumstick part of the question. What was the actual legitimate question again?
What tags should Jod and or SM33 have if they come to Swigo?
Scoundrel, smuggler, not bounty hunter. Scoundrel, smuggler. I would
Mercenary?
say dark side, like in the sense that you can be on not quite the light side without being, full Darth Vader about it. Like, yeah, he's a dark side. I don't know what else. Scoundrel, smuggler for sure. And gosh, what would you say? They would give some unique new tag, right, for him and his bounty hunter crew, because you'd want Wolfman and a couple of the other more interesting looking on his
I would
crew.
say pirate.
Crew.
I think
Pirate would be the
Pirate.
Yeah, pirate. Duh. Yeah, there you go.
I think definitely just drop Scoundrel and Smuggler. Don't give either of them that tag. Give them both the pirate tag. Because you're not going to want them getting used with Dash Rendar, right? Don't give them Mercenary. Don't give them Scoundrel. Don't give them Smuggler. Obviously, SM33 gets the droid tag. Jod is obviously going to be an unaligned Force user. Although I would like to see him get a Jedi tag.
I have a quick question.
Comic books.
They kept acting like he was using tricks. Was he using tricks?
No, that was one of the cool things in the show, is that they made you wonder, was it actually a parlor trick of his, or was he a Force user? And the more he did it over the course of the show, it's like, oh, no shit, though. Like, he's actually doing it.
Okay. I thought that was the case, but like every time he did something, they would afterwards somehow mention it's a trick. So, okay, I was just wondering. So, yeah, he could be an Ufu, I guess.
In the comic books, Jod Nanawood was actually a Jedi who decided to turn to a life of villainy and piracy. So I would like to see that referenced.
Here's my thing, though, when we talk about these tags. If you notice the trend with CG right now, they're trying to narrow us down into a team. So if we start putting Scoundrel tags and Smuggler tags, that would give us a possibility of people who, obviously we know they don't test things, people who do, you'd probably find better places for these characters to go somewhere else when you start adding more tags. So they're starting to make it to where they want to limit you on the tags they get. It does make sense. They should have the Smuggler. They should have the Scoundrel, because that's what they are.
Yeah, just logically, but to be case,
but
sorry, I keep saying the wrong thing.
I think if they do. I think if they do give us a lot of tags like Scoundrel, like Smuggler, they definitely should have them. But if we got them, it's like, are they going to work too well with Dash? Are they going to work well with Balin? Are they going to work well with this? Are they going to work well with that? You can't give them all the tags now. They do need to just be careful. So, yeah.
JJ Binks asks, what about the neutral tag? Here's my thing about the neutral tag. There's a lot of characters, even new ones, that should have the neutral tag that haven't gotten it. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know if that's just a Easter egg kind of thing. Maybe they have plans for it in the future, but maybe they had plans and they kind of abandoned the neutral tag thing. I do agree, Binks, that a lot of them should be neutral, especially like Smee. SM33, I think I was surprised how far Jod went with some of his antics, so I would say he's straight dark side. I thought he'd come around in the end. But
as I'm listening to you say this, I'm thinking it's like, unlike Hondo, who would definitely do that same, like, I'm going to try and rip off this, Republic Mint thing. He would definitely do that. Yeah. But I don't know that he'd actually put the gun to the kids the same way.
Yeah. So I was very surprised how far they took Jod on the evil side. Now, Smee, you could do that, but like I said, when you're thinking in CG's brain, there's a lot of characters that you'd think would be neutral that aren't. Smee would fit the neutral tag because he's a robot. He's just doing what his protocols tell him to do. He was taking the good side with the kids. He also went with Jod, but not because he was choosing to do that, because he was tricked into doing that because he's a droid. So he could definitely get the neutral tag. But, there's a lot of other characters that even have come out recently that could get the neutral tag that haven't, that I've always thought, oh, he's going to get the neutral tag. So I don't know what their plans are with that tag and if we'll even get another one. That's for another discussion, I guess. But as far as my answers, I agree with you guys. But I think it'd just be like Pirate for Jod, maybe Ufu. But if you give him Ufu, I'm guaranteed you'll find a reason not to put him in the Pirate thing. So he probably wouldn't even get Ufu. Because Ufus are so you can work with them so loosely, like you can move them around so well. In most newer characters, I mean, I guess you could always.
It depends on how much they're willing to sweeten the deal with the pirate tag, right? Like technically, Darkside Vision Rey is also Sith. She has the Sith tag, but when you read through her kit, there's just no real compelling reason that you just want to take her away from a full First Order team. You can, but to what end?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And you could also put like negation things in your uniques in the kit where, that forces you to want to use pirates. They can
give you the space to try, but the kit's skewed, like you guys are saying, skewed towards the new tag that they would create for it.
So yeah, I agree with all those takes. Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
Pirate tag probably most suitable, I guess. Yeah.
Womp.
Yeah. Pirate tag is definitely most likely what they'll get. My view is that it's just going to be a fun unit. I do hope that it comes, but it's one of those. We don't know what CG is going to do. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
I almost feel like it was in your stream, Tassenix, but I could be wrong. I've been watching a few lately. Someone said it'd be cool if Smee was the tank for Afra. That would give me a reason to farm Afra. I think it was in yours, actually. But that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned that. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I can't wait for that character to come. But I got to be clear. If there's anyone that... I don't know. I don't know that anybody in CG is watching right now. But if somebody shows them this, or this ends up in their view, don't you dare put SM33 in the game without the little rat crawling out of the eyesight.
Yeah, I love it.
Hell yes. Hell yes, they're gonna do that.
We haven't mentioned it
better
in a while,
than to put in Jabba without Salacious Crumb. So I think they're going to do us right on this.
I agree.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned it in a while, but at the start of the podcast, I was trying to keep a running joke going that CG had a intern that they forced to listen to all the podcasts, and he just listens to ours. And I would reference him from the time and be like, "Dude, tell your bosses to do this."
Well, that's
all right.
We could only wish, but that's CG Coffee who's doing that. That's who you're talking about.
No, that's the coffee machine. That is the AI that's programming the game, which is why there's so many bugs.
Right.
DJ Headset listens to the podcasts.
Right.
Where's your favorite place to eat a Choc top?
In the shade
or a
under
drumstick.
a tree.
Matthias, you have the worst.
Away
time.
from my cat.
Every time someone talks, Matthias talks. It's just horrible timing. It's no one's fault. Mine's on the toilet every morning. I have a good have a Choc top on the toilet. Matthias, what's yours?
In the sanctity of my own home, where Mike can't try to lie to me about what it's called.
Think that's going to stop me?
By yourself in the darkened room. Tassenix?
Yeah, like the 6-year-old I am at heart. If I'm buying a drumstick, it's usually out of the side of an ice cream truck that I just paid with a couple dollars. So like the 6-year-old I am, I'm gonna go and eat it under the shade of a tree nearby.
Yeah, for some reason I'm imagining myself on a pier. I don't know why, because I have no piers near me.
You watch a lot of TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the boardwalk in your brain.
Yeah, the boardwalk is exactly what I'm thinking. Who's left? Mike, you're the one that is the most important person to answer this.
So this is like
right?
no. So it's a merge between Tassenix and Bone. So we've got this like South Bank. It's in the city, but it sort of goes alongside the river. And there's a couple of like those ice cream vans along there, and that's where, because I'm not a very ice creamy sweet sort of person, but that would be the place I would be most likely to have one. So it would be sitting under one of those gazebos or something, looking out at the river.
Okay, listen to the Wiggles. The Wiggles.
The Wiggles they've got a concert going on.
I was gonna say
like
the Wiggles cover
10 meters
band.
down the road.
It's the Wiggles cover band, the street band that has a hat out there for you to throw change in. And Mike, that's Mike's heaven.
It's all the retired Wiggles trying to make some money.
Have you guys ever seen what's the movie where Jack Black steals the guy from American Pie's wife and they have her down in the basement and they have like a cover band for never mind. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Right. Next question. Go. Matthias.
Okay, so the next question comes from Sopper, who was recently admitted into our guild. Congratulations, Sopper. If either
like
host
mental war.
faces each other in GAC, will you do a special competition, like 1v1 teams or something silly?
If we face
Hell yes.
If we
all faced each other. Hell yes.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Tassenix said the same thing earlier. I just want to play a regular match against you. Most people say what you guys are saying. No GLs or 1v1 or upside down, hanging from the ceiling, stuff like that. I just want to play an actual match against them. It doesn't mean I care if I win or lose, but that's the unpopular opinion.
Hang on. I call bullshit because since you've played on Bane's account against Yvonne, we've heard nothing but fucking smash talk from you because you're claiming to be the number one in the Scouter
And when we
podcast.
played it was just a regular GAC match. There was no 1v1s. There was no, you can only set gear 8s on defense. There wasn't anything silly like that. It was a straight up match.
But you're saying that you would, you're basically, the result wouldn't care. You wouldn't care what the result is, but you've shown that it's a complete opposite. You would hold it against all of us.
I didn't care, but if I would have lost, I would never bring it up. But because I won, I now bring it up every single podcast. I am the best out of you guys as well. I'm the best Grand Arena player. Until I play Tassenix, I'm still the best Grand Arena player on both my podcasts.
You have to make it into Kyber 1 before you have a chance of playing Tassenix.
You all are 0-0. I'm 1-0 against my co-host and guests. So I am the best.
All I'm saying is remember, I'm the one hunting. I want to play you. And if you want to make it a bloodbath match, good luck, because I scout and you don't.
I'm waiting. And I will leave the exact same thing. I won't change anything up, and I'll still beat you. Because I am one with the Force is one with me. You'll sit there for 3 hours scouting and thinking and dreaming up these things. I'll go in, start clicking, and I will beat you with a good RNG. So keep on trying, buddy. And you're gonna go home with your tail wagged between the legs, and the 3 years of science and math that you've had in your head for this time you've built up, and I'm just gonna whoop you, and you're gonna be really sad.
All I'm going to say is Tassenix knows if somebody is scouting and you're going to put defenses, you go back and you look, they can't deal with this team. It's going in my front wall on the south. I don't care. Bones, you admit that you can't deal with certain teams and you always go off when you see a trench on the south. You really think you won't see a very high-speed trench on the south wall?
But one thing I can do is learn from my mistakes. So,
yeah.
I'll say this much: you guys got to clip it with Bones' little soliloquy there. That's talking big shit. So save that clip next time any two of you square up.
Steve,
any of you
somebody in the
square
chat, clip it.
Talking
Yeah,
big shit, so let's see it.
He's got to keep that winning streak now.
That's right.
Keep that winning streak.
Team energy when it comes up, when it happens.
Oh, I will. I can't wait. I'm excited.
So Tassenix, you kind of answered it early, where if you do match up with anybody, you want to take it like a proper match.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the, again, the ritual meeting in the Walmart parking lot at 2 a.m. We each pull our wife beater shirts up over our heads, throw it on the ground. Each chug a can of Natty Light, crush it on our respective foreheads, throw to the side, dukes up.
Winner gets a drumstick.
Yeah. Winner gets a drumstick. Yeah. I'm into it. 900 crystals and a drumstick.
All right.
It's funny you
Next
say
question.
wife beaters, because until I was like 25, I just wore wife beaters all the time. I got too fat.
I
for
literally
it.
have.
I
have one on.
I didn't know that they had a problem. For some reason, wife beater didn't actually stick as a bad word in my head. That's literally the only word I knew them. I was in my 20s before I first knew that they were called A-shirts.
What?
I don't even think I
We
knew
call
that.
them singlets. Singlet.
No, a singlet. Now, a singlet, I wrestled in high school. A singlet is a completely different fucking thing.
That's what they called here.
A singlet uses like the bottom half of a bathing suit and is attached to the shirt, and you put it on as a onesie.
Welcome talking to these
Because it's
Australian people.
a single piece of clothing.
All right.
Because all of their
Okay.
names.
Let's
are
stay on topic, because I want to
Yep.
go to bed sometime today, not tomorrow, which is already going to be. It's already 2:30. All right. Next question.
Right. Next.
All right. What faction would you like to see get a lift? Sorry, this question is from Tony. Tony wants to know, what faction would you like to see get a lifter/conquest character?
I'm going to give a hot take that we're all going to love and hate at the same time. Lord Vader needs a proper lifter that's going to stick with him. Something that's going to stick with him, because
No, what
everything
faction?
they've ever brought
It's a
out.
faction, not a character. It's a
Conquest,
faction.
yeah. Well, it says conquest character as well.
No, what faction would you like to see get a lifter/conquest character? So the lifter can come from a marquee or a conquest.
No.
Somebody that you want to do more at the whatever the modern game is for you. Somebody that isn't quite doing it that you'd love to see do more. Like, how about Tarful? That's a cool team. I like the Wookiee team, and when Tarful was new, he had a datacron where it was actually like a viable defensive team. It's the mechanics are there for it to actually be cool. But it needs a little something. So something like Tarful for me sticks out.
Yeah, I like that.
You know what team jumps out to me instantly now? Jawas. Because sometimes they can do those stupid little moments where it's like, oh, I'm just going to take them on offense and blow this target away in a hilarious way, because the AI is dense as shit. But when it's on defense, it's, oh, Scav, die. Right, okay, we've won now. So just something that makes it different.
Ewok's got Nisa. The Tusken's got those couple of extra to make that team sort of useful. Literally, the Jawas are the ones that are just there. Like they haven't gotten that extra little boost in the last couple of years. So that was my pick, Jawas.
Yeah.
So I have two answers. My personal, what I would want is Ewoks, where you bring Teak to the game. Teak from the movies. Like, that's just what I want. Everyone got their fucking Gungans. There's even fucking two Omegas and a dog. Can I not get Teak, who's one of the most, cult classic, most beloved characters in the entire world, to the game?
Most unknown Ewok ever.
Well, he's not an Ewok. He was not from Endor.
There you go.
Didn't even know that he wasn't a fucking Ewok.
Yeah, see? Come on, man. He crashed on that planet with the old man. But give me
You just said you want an Ewok lifter.
Yeah, he was on
lifter
indoor
for the Ewok team. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, but it doesn't have to be an Ewok, I guess.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he was on indoor in the Ewok movie. You can't get more Ewok than that, except he wasn't an Ewok. But I could see him running across the screen doing an AoE, all that stuff. He does look like an Ewok on meth, but he wasn't an Ewok. He crashed on the planet with the old man. But other than that, when we were just talking about Imperial Troopers, I don't know what you would add to make them better, but I would like to see them kicking ass in Kyber 1, Kyber 2 once again. Maybe even make them defensive. I know DTMD is kind of defensive, but he's not really that great. That's my answer.
Tass?
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought I did already answer, but what was the question again?
That's right.
Lifter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said I don't know who the lifter would be. If that's what you're asking, I don't know who that would be. What about the young Wookiee? Give us any new Wookiee that we have. Give us like Clone Wars, the Wookiee Jedi, the little young Wookiee Jedi. Give me the kid version. Give me the adult version. I don't care who the Wookiee lifter is, but something where Tarful's like a full-time team.
I remember.
Yep. All right. Next question.
I would say, so my answer, I would say I want an Old Republic lifter, but not like just to go with anybody in Old Republic. I would like to see Sortie actually be useful for something besides getting put in a Rey team so that it stops one of the many counters.
Next part of the question.
Yep.
Okay, so the second part of Tony's question was, what is your favorite thing about Bones?
Oh, God.
I'm going to say something that's going to get us all laughing. You know when he buggers off to the toilet and we go chair stream? That bit.
How do you
Bones, what's your answer?
What's my answer?
Yeah, what's your favorite thing about yourself, Bones?
I reek of awesomeness. None of you guys would be here if it wasn't for me. I'm a big deal. I'm very important in the Swugga community. What would you guys do without
excellence.
me? Yeah, I piss excellence, and I reek of awesomeness. Mike, I want to hear
your confidence. I love your confidence.
If it wasn't for you guys supporting
Mike loves that you do his GOCs.
Yeah, well, that's also handy.
That's Mike's favorite thing.
No, confidence is great. Like, it's infectious. You're always willing to give something a challenge.
Well, thank you, buddy. I didn't expect something nice. I just thought you guys were going to talk shit.
Oh, fuck you then.
I love your overwhelming positivity, Bones, which you just displayed does not exist by assuming we were all going to say something negative about you, but I love your overwhelming positivity.
Tassenix, I expect a very good review.
Where are you looking for this review?
What do you love? What do you love the most about me, Tass? Even though we've only hung out twice.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing about Bones, Tassenix?
What do I love most about Bones? What do I love the most about a guy that I've had a few conversations with that is a pretty dope dude? You will not immediately appreciate how big of a compliment this is, but you don't annoy me.
I actually love that. That's a perfect answer. So I annoy a lot of people that don't really know my sense of humor. So that is a huge compliment. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it's also an awkward question. So whoever asked that, thank you for that.
I'm pretty
Right,
sure that's just
Tony.
Bones' alt account for Discord.
Yeah.
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 All right, next.
Okay, so the next question comes from TK, and he wants to know if we play console games. What consoles do we have, and what games are we currently playing?
Okay, that's funny that you asked that, because I was going to ask you, Tassenix. You've mentioned other games. What games do you play, even if it's not on a console?
Yeah, I don't play consoles these days. I'm strictly a PC gamer, but I play a lot of Black Ops 6 Zombies. I don't really play regular Call of Duty multiplayer. I'm far too old to want to get into multiplayer to find out which 10-year-old's been fucking my mom. So I just stick to zombies. I'll play Overwatch 2 from time to time. I'll play Civilization 6. What else? I'll do ARAM on League of Legends. I don't do no Summoner's Rift, again, for same aforementioned I fucked your mom reasons. What else? What else do I got? What else on? So this is kind of about it. A couple random other games on Steam. But yes. Oh, you've been playing Tomb. I see Steve in the chat's been playing Tomb. The new map for zombies on Black Ops 6. Amazing. Seriously, I'm thinking about actually starting to stream just zombie runs because I have a hell of a lot of fun with that. That's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. Matthias.
Okay. A lot. So just going around my room, PlayStation 1, original Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PS Vita, PSP, Xbox One, Xbox 360, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo 64, a PS5, a PS2, a PS4, another Xbox One.
What was
I
the
have
question?
Game Boys, I have
By the way,
PSs.
are you just having moved in and you're in the process of unpacking and filter everything out, or are you about to move out? Because you have like a billion boxes behind you.
I moved in a few months ago, and this room is the room that has not been touched yet.
We've asked him a few times as well.
So, but I mean, I
It's a
play
running
most
joke at this point.
Yeah, at this point, these boxes are going to stay packed up until I die.
I was gonna say, haven't gotten to this room yet. You've been there several months. It's like, okay, we both know what this is, but you can say yet if it makes you feel better.
He's the next
100%.
Remember, we like people with backgrounds like that.
Oh, Steve in
what,
chat.
What was the question? Because you're just naming off consoles. What was the question?
What console
The question
are you
was, do
playing?
you guys play console games? What consoles do you have, and what games are you currently playing?
I got you.
All right, give us three games, Matthias. What are you playing?
I
Three
play
games.
console games. Right now, the three games that I'm currently playing are Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, Stardew Valley, and Hogwarts Legacy.
Stardew Valley. I fucking love that game. Always be a Stardew guy. Team Stardew. Who's next?
So I'll go next because mine's quick and easy. I have an Xbox. That's all I run other than my computer. And the only two games I'm currently playing other than Galaxy Heroes, on the Xbox, I'm currently doing Final Fantasy VIII because I want to. And the only other game I'm currently playing is Ashes of Creation, which is in early alpha. And I love MMOs, and I'm causing chaos. And it's like, yeah, I've already got to play on the test server for a day. It was great. I love Rogue. I can't wait for it to come to the actual server, because then I'm going to be a dick. And I'm just going to jump on stream and show you how abusive Rogue can be. Because it's just going to be hilariously funny.
Okay. All right, well, Mike doesn't play games. He just has 16 Swugga alt accounts. So we know what he does. I'm just kidding. What else do you play, Mike?
Nothing on console, so... I think technically Cricket 24 is on a console, but I play it on the computer. That'd be the closest I'd get.
The only other games Mike plays is whatever one's Bone is running a promotion for.
Cricket. That sounds so boring. Cricket 24. All right, so I'll go last. I play a lot of shit, but I don't have time to play anything. And all the games I play require like 60 plus hours to even get into. But I just bought Path of Exile 2. I've been wanting it for a very long time. Played it for about 4 hours last night. I'm absolutely having a blast with it. If you're listening and you want to play Path of Exile 2 with me, fucking play with me. Get it, $30. It's going to be fun. Don't Baldur's Gate 3 me. Don't everyone buy it and play it. And when I ask to play with you, well, I don't know. I got an important meeting every single time you ask me. Maybe next time. But yeah, Path of Exile. I do love MMOs. I love what the fuck is it called? Lord of the Rings Online is my favorite. I'll play a little SWTOR. I always find myself just going back and playing old games. I don't have consoles, but I have emulators. So I love the Nintendo 64. It's probably one of my all-time favorite games. So I like Banjo-Kazooie, the Zelda games on there. Any old stuff is fun, nostalgic stuff. But yeah, Path of Exile right now for me. Also Elden Ring. I modded Elden Ring with Old Man Logan. We play multiplayer on that. You have to mod it though to do that, but it's really fun as well. That's all.
Cool.
Okay. The next question is actually Swigo related and comes from TK again. He says that he just got Profundity unlocked. Are there any reasons for him to refresh it straight to 7 stars? He does already have Levi and Executor for context.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, that ship being 5 stars doesn't make it that much less of a threat if you've got the rest of the starfighters at a reasonable level of strength for the type of fleets that you're used to fighting. Especially if you've already got the other meta fleets, and if you have practice with non-top meta fleets as counters, then you really do have quite some latitude for the kind of fleet defense you could set. So my first instinct is probably not. If you're up near me and if you're breaking into Kyber 1 or you're breaking up into the top couple hundred at Kyber 1 and you for some reason don't have 7-star Profundity, maybe there's an affirmative case to whale out and get your last couple stars.
Every time one's released, I stop what I'm doing, which you should never do, but I do because I feel like fleets are more important. And I just go all in on it until it's done. And so, I'm not saying this is the most efficient or the right answer, but I will hoard my cores, whatever they're called, use them all down to 1,000. 1,000 leaves you enough to do your refreshes. And the next time it comes up, I go all the way back down to 1,000 until it's just done. So it's done. You don't have to think about it anymore. That's just for my own sanity, though.
Do you intentionally use Marvel Strike Force currency?
What do you mean? I didn't say anything about MSF.
You said cores and gold.
You never say crystals and credits. It's always cores and gold.
Yeah, because you want to know why? MSF is a better game than Slugga. That's why I go to that.
Mate, put it on. God damn it. We nearly got away with an episode without one.
That was you
Steve's
guys.
on it.
Oh no, he's at 3 counts this stream according to Steve.
Nah, I just haven't restarted.
No, it doesn't reset it.
Oh, okay.
So Tassenix Inquisitor's actually in chat, so he's between K2 and so probably okay at 5 stars.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things like what we were talking about earlier to mid game. I'll cop 2. I feel like I'm talking out of my ass a little bit, but that said, yeah, I don't think you need it. Do you feel you need it? Are you for the people you're fighting? Are you always fighting 7-star Profundity? And if you're not, do you find that you struggle? Because I don't have a lot of experience fighting that, right? At the time that it first unlocked, I got it to 7 stars. Pretty much everybody I was fighting then, and pretty much everyone since, has been only 7 stars. So I don't want to bullshit you, but yeah, my guess is probably not.
And I pretty much agree. If you've not needed it till now and you're climbing with it, get it naturally. Unless you've got spare crystals that you are not using and don't have are useful and like you're sitting on enough to just do it. If you don't need it, don't waste them.
I mean, Dick Plate pretty much made this irrelevant. Or not irrelevant, but not as good as it used to be. Because it just, Dick Plate knocks it out of the water. You have to have a very specific counter with Profundity to beat Leviathan, and even if Leviathan, now with the buff to sit the Maul ship, it's almost irrelevant now. So it's actually less relevant than it used to be before Dick Plate. So yeah, I would agree. Probably just, you'll be fine. Slow roll it.
TK is also saying he hasn't got the gem. You'd have to buy the
don't do
crystal
it.
pack.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth spending to refresh it. I just got my Profundity to 7 stars yesterday.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at the question. Is the difference made between 5 and 7 enough to spend $100 specifically to dump all of that $100 worth of crystals into those next 2 stars? Probably not. I mean, if you were inclined to buy a vault, I could definitely think of better uses.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. All right, next.
And they don't include giving it to Bones.
So my answer
that would be a better
to your
investment. Sorry, go ahead.
My answer to your question is that after looking at the upgrades that come along with its abilities, there is no appreciable difference in its viability between 4 stars and anything else. Obviously, it gets better the higher its stars are, just due to stats, and the abilities can be upgraded further to do more effects, but 4 stars will do anything that 7 stars will do. It's not going to make any counters possible. It might make them more reliable, but they won't become more possible.
All right. I love the answer. We're at 3 hours and 40 minutes. So let's get.
And we
let's
have
get these
3
moving
questions
We've got-
left, Bones. Calm down.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a GAC. I have to clean house. It's my wife's only day off for the week. So I got a lot to go on. So let's.
Yeah, I will say, I'm enjoying
Nihilus.
myself. I'm not in a rush to get out of here, but wildly misadvertised. Oh, how long is the podcast? Oh, like 1-2 hours. Wildly
Who told you that?
misadvertised.
Who the fuck told you that?
I said a couple hours because there's nothing to talk about.
We've never had a podcast shorter than 2.5 hours.
I said a couple hours. Have you ever had one that was 4 hours long and there was
Yes,
nothing
we
to
have.
talk about? Jesus Christ. This is ridiculous.
With Nihilus has asked, with the release of Batcher, does this hopefully open the door to more creatures? I think she is the first one since Wampa.
No.
No. There is a lot of there's a lot of creatures out there that they could put in. I'd prefer they didn't. I'd really prefer they didn't.
I don't think it's gone down very well, so I don't think they'll try it again. Or not for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they didn't put a beast tag on him, you're not getting a beast team.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to make it make sense. Like you what are you going to do? Pull 5 disparate beasts from all of Star Wars and say, "Ha, this is under a beast faction. We'll just make a Rancor a leader for a Minok and a Tauntaun." This makes sense.
Yeah, it's got to make sense for the what's it. We might get weird shit in the future, but it's gonna make sense for the team.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's you didn't get Batcher Dog because they wanted to put in creatures. You got Batcher because it fit with the new Bad Batch faction. That's the only reason. So they're clearly willing to do it where and if it makes sense.
And a majority of the ones that you guys would want in the game each one would take up 2 spaces. So it'd be like 5 Jabba the Hutts out on the screen. So next. I don't care about your answer,
okay.
Matthias. Next.
Yeah. Sure, whatever, Bones. What character could come to the game that would get an automatic R9 regardless of tags, stats, or abilities, simply because of your love of the character? Bonus points if you can guess what Bane's pick is. Revan Reborn.
I'll
He
agree.
could be one of the shittest GLs in the game, and I would probably take him straight to Relic 9.
I'll agree with you. That'll be my answer as well. GL Revan.
The problem is mine came to the game and it is being taken to R9. I just don't have the resources right now because mine would have been Balin.
I have sat thinking about this for a while. I can't really think of anybody that I'd be like just purely based on the character. Can't really think of it. Like, yeah, if it's a tank or something, consider it. But I haven't really got any favorite characters that aren't in the game. Like Lord Vader is already in the game, so.
All right, that's not a wrong answer. What about you, Tass?
Characters that go to straight R9 are ones where I can leverage the gains from specifically R9. Now, that can be from the obvious, R9 disproportionately benefits tanks. So if the right tank comes along, of course, they disproportionately benefit Galactic Legends because of the Galactic Legend unique. They also benefit, I'm looking for who actually gains, right? There's a specific call. Like Shin Hati is gaining crit avoidance per relic level she has. Characters where their kits say, like Jar Jar Binks, you want to have him at relic 9 because for every multiple of 3 of his relic levels, you're getting extra charges on your shield battery thing. So it's like you're thinking about where their actual gains. For the most part, like from top down, it's like tanks. Then you're talking about who's going to profit from the health gain, who's an attacker that you've got enough offense on their mods otherwise to benefit from that little bit of offense that you usually get moving from 8 to 9. And then, below that, it feels like really luxury.
All right, I like it.
So I will refer you guys to the middle of the question where it said, regardless of tags, stats, or abilities.
What do you want us to say about that?
Well, I mean, Tassenix's entire spiel was based on what their tags and abilities would be.
Yeah, so I evaluated the question as if we're talking about a character in this game, Swugga, whereas they're asking about which Star Wars character. It's like, forget about their kit. Just which Star Wars character could they add next that's like a guaranteed Relic 9 for you? That's the question being asked.
Just due to your
Like
personal love of that character. Like how Bones loves Teak.
Yeah, if Teak came to the game, Bones is going to take him to R9.
Instant
Some of
R9.
the characters that I've been looking forward to in this game over the years have been added, so I'm sitting here. I need to think about it. How about this? Absolutely guaranteed R9 for me would be Marka Ragnos.
Who's that?
One of the ancient Sith lords.
Okay.
Like one of the first.
The name sounded so familiar.
Oh yeah. Not the first, but one of them. Like he's a real OG Darth.
All right.
Darth Vitiate. That would be another good one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Yeah, any incarnation of Darth Vitiate, Valkorian, blah 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 blah, any of that, guaranteed. I'm a sucker for Sith for Empire, so you wouldn't have to twist my arm.
All right. Next.
Okay, the last question actually comes from Womp Rat. Womp, if you would just like to ask this question yourself.
Yep. So, how many hats does Tassenix have?
He's a man of many hats.
I have considerable hats. I do, actually. I just only wear a couple because, I don't know, they just make sense. It just makes sense.
The thing is, sometimes you go away for a second and you come back with a different hat. It hasn't happened this whole podcast. You've been in one hat for the whole time.
It's very rare that I change hats. It's usually if I'm changing hats within a given stream, it's because my daughter would have like snatched it off my head and fled the room. Like, damn it.
And that didn't happen today, even though she was behind you at one point trying to grab it. It looked like, but
yes.
That's right.
I gotta say, one of my favorite parts of this stream has been seeing your daughter randomly just like wander behind you and walk in circles.
Yeah.
I haven't seen your guys' cats today. You and Matthias's cat.
Yeah, they're both sleeping in the corner over here. I'm looking at them. They're very cute. They're actually stacked on each other with their paws like in alignment. It's very cute.
Yeah,
There was somebody in the chat who was announcing it very loudly every time me or Womprat's cat came on stream.
No, but
Yeah.
Cass has two.
Mine's literally sat here, right off stream, just wanting to join us.
All I meant by that
As
is
he does.
There's always a cat involved
Mine's
in
passed
our
out in
stream.
the corner of the room.
All right, guys, I love you all dearly, and this has been a fantastic podcast and a fantastic conversation, but I have a lot to do today. So let's wrap this one up. First of all, Tassenix, this was way longer than I expected, but I thank you for hanging out with us, man, and taking your time to hang out with us and just come on the show in general. I really appreciate it, brother.
And I had a great time. Thank you all for having me.
And like Mike said, you're always welcome. You're always welcome to the other cantina as well. We appreciate coming by and saying hello in the chat as well. Real quick though, if anyone's left, pimp your stuff. Tell us where we can find you and all that good stuff.
Sure, yeah. Here within the next couple of hours, I will in fact be going live to stream this round. I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tassenix. I do upload all my VODs to my YouTube channel with chapters added. Tassenix Gaming. Got a bunch of other Swugger-related content over there. Check that out. I do make the Plotting and Scheming podcast. You can find that on my YouTube or on Spotify. And that's about it. Thank you so much again.
No problem, buddy. We really appreciate it. Womprat, pimp your stuff.
I'm going to be doing something tomorrow. Don't actually know what yet, but I'm on like 4 or 5 days a week. But yeah, one of those. Other than that, yeah, come find us. We're on YouTube, on the same name, on Twitch, same name, and just here going to take the piss out of Bones as per usual.
Mike, Matthias, say your byes.
I'm trying to link his stuff on.
Maybe you should have done that before
I'm
the show.
Matthias. I'm the loud guy. I'm the annoying guy. Me and Bones go at it constantly, but we both love each other. You can find me wherever slime grows in the swamps.
Yeah, he doesn't stream. He's our special guest. Mike, say your goodbye.
Yes, thank you, Tassenix, for coming on. When Bones said you were coming on, I got a little bit nervous, excited, like
Moist?
tingly,
He shrieked like a little girl.
He got a little moist.
tingly butterflies in my belly because obviously, like, yeah, you're quite a. I even like. I was speaking to my wife. It was about lunchtime when Bones messaged, and I was like, so I spoke to her, and I was like, got like this guy coming on, and he's like a top 50 player in the world, and she's like, is that good? I'm like 2000 something ranked, and she's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So I kind of like fanboyed a little bit, but yeah, so thank you very much for coming on, and yeah, I will make more effort to comment in your streams rather than just sitting there and lurking. Yes.
I'm very honored to hear that. I don't think of. I'm not accustomed to thinking of myself as the guy that people look forward to having on. Like, I'm the guy that I'm looking forward to who I'm having on my thing. So I appreciate that really a lot. But yeah, this was a pleasure for me at any time. And hopefully, you understand. Like, I mean to be accessible. So ask, if you guys got questions, any of you here on the show, anybody in the chat, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I like I said, I was so privileged to have so many people willing to spend their time helping me. It's my pleasure. So anytime.